Welcome back to Finding Truth podcast here on Unscripted Truth TV on YouTube. Logan here with Austin. And tonight's show, it's going to, I think we're going to get back to the closer to 2 hour format. It's been great. The last two episodes, if you guys have not caught them, these were absolute bangers. We had King Richard on back to back, and that was a treat in my best posh, white guy terminology, because we covered a lot. He brought a lot of info to the table, which branched out into our yapping that we like to do, and we're able to make a lot of different ties to a lot of different things, and just really give our opinions and open it up to the community too on how they feel about certain things that we covered. And it was just a very good, I think, blueprint and example of how well collaborations can go, and the views have been there too. So I want to thank the community as well for being there for it as well, because the views were very good and the comments are also very good, as they have been for quite some time now. So we really appreciate the growth and the you guys showing that you guys can come out of your shell and be a part of something, because we only want to make it bigger and better and more community centered and oriented. And in order to do that, we need more people willing to place themselves in the fray, not in a bad way, but jump in the pool with everybody. That being said, tonight we are going to cover kind of like a little bit of a review of our season in NASCAR, and kind of go race by race, not like to sit there and talk 30 minutes on every race, but just go back and kind of calculate for our own records, how we did this season, because have it be at least on camera. That way, it's something I feel like I should have done and gone through and done a collage or whatever of all of our calls, a mashup, if you will, and something I maybe still will do. It's probably necessary, but haven't gotten around to it. But we'll at least cover that today, all the races, whether or not we got the call or not. We'll be able to remember where we were, our headspace was, and maybe that'll open up the brainwaves to you guys who have had some great ads to the community. But you guys came in a little bit later in the season, and we did it from race one to now, or to last week. So we'll cover the races and then, or the season, and then we want to we're going to parlay that into talking about all the rage right now is the whole SNAP benefits being taken away, and we're in the food portion of the year with Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas back to back to back. And I guess you can even include New Year's, because usually people have like a lot of food and especially alcohol during New Year's, but that's besides the point. But just talking about government reliance and seeing where this panic is coming from, and whether it was necessary to begin with, and how much we might be willing to, if at all possible, to kind of refrain from using government assistance, but also being more self-reliant, or at least being more responsible and frugally sound with not only your money, but even if you getting assistance. I think we all know a person who gets a lot of money on food stamps that tends to eat a lot of crap. And I think that is by far the majority. And unfortunately, that clouds the pool for the people that are doing things responsible or do need it. And, which really jades your average person on handouts, just like things we've talked about in the past, like homelessness and everything. It's tough to find the true person in need when they're in a sea of people that are just living for themselves and wanting to be a leech just for the F of it. Anyway, so long-winded intro aside, how are you doing, Austin? I'll send it down to you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Guess I'm doing as fine as can be here on another 9/11, 11/9, whatever you want to call it.
Good point.
Yeah, and then the longest government shutdown ever we're in, and yeah, we got a great episode tonight. Looking forward to it. Yeah, definitely a big shout out, like you said, to King Richard for being on last couple weeks, and coming on 5 times, being our only guest, and back to back too. That's awesome, and yeah, great to have him on, and can't wait to have him on some more. And um, yeah, hopefully, like I said, it motivates, inspires others to come on and to join in, and just to get momentum and things going. But yeah, it's a real interesting episode tonight. 60, kind of like the 60th president selection, all that, and uh, 60 is an interesting number. 60 days from now it'll be the calendar year of 2026, and you got 60 weeks from now it'll be January 2027. So it'll be another year as well. And 60 months from now, 5 years, will be to the end of Agenda 2030. It will be November of 2030 in 60 months. And, where are we going to be 60 weeks, by January 2027? Where are we going to be 60 days by January 2026? These are all great questions. Yeah, we got a lot of good points tonight. A few things I'll add to just, this kind of reasons why I don't really see a lot of, there's reasons why, a lot of people, they're not going to, survive or make it the next 5 years. And, why it's not really even just about, money and financials and all the stuff they want you to, you know, make it seem like it is, and what it's really all about. It's really about, getting just, weeded out of society, and, getting rid of people uh, through other means as well. And yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that. There's a lot of different, angles to, attack that with, and there's a lot of ways to look at that. But yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, it's overall, I mean, yeah, it's been a pretty decent week. I mean, the weather's still not really too cold. Winter really hasn't hit here yet. I know other places they're getting all messed up. I know Alaska just got a big storm, and Brazil got a bunch of twisters and crazy weather. So it's stuff is going off. Other than that, it's been a pretty decent week. Got some things done, things accomplished. I know I got some tires on my car, so that helps out. And I did some brakes soon, and be all squared away with that. But other than that, it's kind of just another week, just doing what I got to do and getting through it. And yeah, here we are. I don't think we even talked about last week that today was 9/11 or 11/9, or that was our next
Oh,
episode. I think that kind of maybe snuck in, probably with everything last week with King being on and being the last race of NASCAR and stuff, that this was waiting for us, just kind of snuck its way in. And yeah, like I said, we'll get into that government shutdown stuff and the longest ever and all this other stuff that's been going on, and kind of what we see and plan ourselves even for the next 5 years, as well as this all supposedly plays out to whatever tune it's going to play out to. But yeah, it was last week. It was Mr. 201 got it done in the end, and it's kind of what the season really came down to, is the 201. Because Christopher Bell really winning the Winston Cup, and he had that 201st race and the 201st day of the year, and that was a race that just, another one that we really should have went through, but for every reason didn't. But I guess it was just for him to get the 201st win for Toyota. And like I said, he would have been the Winston Cup champion if that was the old format still. But chalk it up, give it to Larson, Mr. 201, who doesn't win a race all playoffs, doesn't win a race at all, doesn't even lead a lap at Phoenix, doesn't even lead a lap in the last race, and
who needs it?
finishes worse than anyone's ever finished in the last race to win it, and still ends up winning it. So, go figure, the way they scoped it all out. And just yeah, and then just that second to last race of the year, I mean, is really what it all came down to. Just not I still think it was rigged, just the way they set that race up, that you'd click on it and it would say nothing available, just so we wouldn't look into it ahead of time and see that it was clearly, International Tennessee Day, and chalked up for Byron. We just had that little clue. But yeah, other than that, we pretty much called the season 99, 99 out of 100, besides that one little thing. And even that looked like it was coming through for 100 for 100. It looked like we had that in the bag as well. And that damn International Tennessee Day, William Byron Lee was giggling and smiling away with that one. this big Willie B took the checkers. But yeah, what a year, what a season, and with 88 and Trump and SVG and all that. I mean, we called that as well, and that's something where it'll be interesting to see where that goes with the 88 and Trump is next year and the years to come as well. But really, that was the only big really Trump thing that really I seen with the connections. But yeah, it all started back in Daytona with the Willie B getting it done.
Yes, sir. And just for for anyone that hasn't caught it, because even if you're not interested in decoding or sports in general, which by the way I'm not really either interested in sports, that is, but what I am interested in is the decoding aspect and the narrative breaking and things of that nature. That is I say fun, but it's actually there is a greater purpose for this channel, especially when it comes to decoding sports. Because when we talk about 90% of our channel, or I guess I won't say 90 because we just covered a whole season of NASCAR, but up until NASCAR, our whole channel was basically just about breaking down certain narratives and giving our takes on political issues, socioeconomical issues, and then also the fun side, like the historical stuff, the conspiracies, obviously, but all in kind of with a grand scheme and plan to spark people's minds and have them at least wake up from the obvious, lies and deception daily. And so that's no different when we're talking about NASCAR, like we have all season. We talk about the race, but we always include the bullshit. The like, guys, look at this. This is not real. Come on. It's like, think about this. Look at this. This is why we're doing it. And I think that is exemplified by this person. Like he was meant for us to find as like our linchpin to prove without a shadow of a doubt. And even if it is to just prove to a diehard fan of NASCAR that one driver out of the whole field is bought and paid for, he is an absolute puppet, that he is there to represent a ritual. I think you can convince some hardcore fans that William Byron is that character. Not only that, he races for Gordon, so that's just another
Yeah.
peg squared away. But so yeah, William Byron, this is kind of I feel like we really struck oil realizing why this guy won the Daytona 500, and it didn't take us long. And why I prefaced what our channel was about is because we were heavy on weather warfare. This was at let's see, when did this take place? Yeah, February. This is the storm season. There was several storm things that had taken place, especially right the week of Daytona 500. But this has been a lead up thing, and if you follow Zach's channel, you expect it to be a yearly thing, that when storm season comes around and the named storms and things of that nature, that there's always weather control, weather manipulation to be found and called out. But so we were heavy on that. We were talking about weather modification and things of that nature, and so this is off the heels of that, and then we're going to do race the Daytona race, but a huge storm had happened, and we planned on talking about that evening. So we covered the race, and we were just like, oh, okay, we looked at people's numbers and everything. And of course, it was interesting that Jimmy Johnson, I think, what did he do, 2 races this year? But he took third, and that's pretty good for a guy coming out of retirement or whatever. I see the ritual in it too, but so we're looking at William Byron, like, why did he win this race? And we didn't really know. So we just covered the race. We talked about some potential things, and then we got to talking about the storm and the states that it affected. It was like Virginia, Tennessee, and a Carolina potentially. I can't remember. I should have gone back and done my homework. But lo and behold, the two governors of West Virginia and the other state, they both issued states of emergency for their states because there was flash flooding or flash freezing and flooding and things of that nature. But Tennessee, who got hit arguably the hardest, they did not issue a state of emergency for aid from FEMA or whatever. Meanwhile, so I'm sitting there like, where is the ritual here? I'm looking at the two governors who issued state of emergency because their names are everywhere, and they're like, these governors are issuing states of emergency. But I'm like seeing in all the headlines, we're seeing that 3 states were named, and so we're like, wait, what was up with Tennessee? And this is like very last. We're just like doing this is literally at the part of the stream where we're just doing our due diligence. We're being like, well, let's at least look at the third state. What's up with what's up with Tennessee? And then we're reading the story because it barely talks about Tennessee in all the articles. And then you read about what's happening in Tennessee, flash freezing, that people are getting stuck in their cars that are flooded in because it's freezing like super quick overnight. Waters burst, water pipes are bursting, and people are freezing out. They don't have electricity. It's just like, wait, what? This is like worse than any other states that's getting it. And why aren't they issuing a state of emergency? We're just looking, and of course, if you know, you know. But lo and behold, the governor of Tennessee, Mr. Bill Lee, and so like we're not even seeing the joke. I think we made the joke about him being a William first because we had already noticed how many Williams were connected to NASCAR. So we might have made a joke that it was like, oh, Bill, William, but we still were, Billy. We're making jokes about his name, like Billy, hey Billy, and everything like that. But once you do just like a small, wrong Billy. All you gotta do is one quick click away, and you'll see Mr. William Byron Lee. And so, obviously sparks and light bulbs went off. Obviously, we understood right away where this, was where his win came from. And, I think that was a big, for that to happen week 1 for us, I think that was kind of a driving factor, if you will. Kind of like, because I don't know if it was fleshed out that we were necessarily going to just cover every NASCAR race. I don't think we never like talked about it, and we're just like it wasn't a planned thing necessarily. But I think it just, from there on, both of our interests were piqued so much. And so, yeah, I guess that's a pretty good synopsis of week 1. So the ritual there, of course, we didn't have a winner prior. So we went into this, basically all hindsight. But in that hindsight, we caught a pattern, the first of the patterns with Byron and Tennessee, at least that we know of. Maybe we can look at old races too. I mean,
yeah,
God knows.
he won 2 Daytona 500s in a row. And I said too, one pick I had was Austin Cindric in that race, and he led over most of the race. He led 92 laps, led the most laps, and he was leading with half a lap to go. So it came half a lap to winning that one. So
yeah, I did forget. Yeah, you did make a call for Austin Cindric here, and a close call as well. But what do we know? We now know that our even our best gut instincts cannot beat the Tennessee rituals with Byron, and we've been burned 2 out of 3 times. We learned it the first time, and apparently we didn't learn it good enough because it bit us twice more for both of his for his next 2 wins. But we'll get to that. So we have the Daytona 500 that moves into the first of the 3-peat for Mr. Christopher Bell. And this is another 201 knocker. Not this one. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Adventist or Health or whatever. Interesting that they got a lot of hospitals that sponsor races. It's just weird. Here, I can't remember. Like, I'm not going to remember every single call. I don't know. I definitely know we didn't call this one per se. I don't remember what our thinking was going into this race or what we saw in the numbers, but I'm not too exactly sure But I can say about the next two, and I don't remember exactly what we saw in the numbers because you'd have to go back and watch our videos. But we made a soft. I don't remember if it was a soft call or we called specifically for Christopher Bell to win his second in a row. But we were definitely. I know I considered it a call. So we either made like a soft call, like, talked about one of two drivers or something winning and Bell won, or we just straight up called Bell. But it was one of those two things. We had our eyes set on Bell one way or another, and he ended up winning his second in a row.
And this was the only
And
road course that SVG didn't win too.
right. Absolutely true. And also where he finished sixth. And I don't remember if no, we did talk about SVG because this was by, obviously he finished very good. But up until then, I think he was dead last almost every race. Or no, 23rd, so still not great. And where did he finish in the Daytona? I forgot. Was that where he's almost dead last? Okay. So oh no. He was last. He was last of finishing drivers. That's what I was remembering.
Yeah.
He did finish last of finished drivers. So good on him for not DNFing, but and this is one of many almost dead last or dead last finishes for SVG, which I just want to point that out to you guys just to kind of, because we're going to talk about SVG. And we were ahead of our times with that, because I just want to bring up one other thing too, that we talked about SVG just simply for the car he drives. And this is race one. We talked about SVG driving the 88, and I was wondering about him, and you had the cliff notes about him, about how he won his first race ever and hasn't done anything since then. And we had this like set up, and I'm just like, well, he seems primed. And little did we know, or maybe we did know.
He just needed to get in that 88 car, and it all changed everything.
Sure did. Now like I said, I'm pretty sure we at the very least made a soft call for Christopher Bell to win here, and he did. He got his second win in a row. And here's where the fun. This is another like huzzah fun moment for us. We definitely called Christopher Bell to win. If you guys don't know, a bell is an symbol in Freemasonry used in their iconography, whether it's the tracing boards or in other iconography, the bell is used. Think of, the major symbols of America, the Liberty Bell and things of that nature. Of course, housed in places built by Masons and things of that nature. But anyway, if for entertainment purposes, you guys can watch, what is it? National Treasure, the Nicolas Cage series, if you want to get the entertaining Masonry history lesson. But yeah, we certainly called this one, and it did not disappoint. We were laughing all the way to the bank on this one because we had it. We not only saw, I mean, obviously, if you guys don't know, the Shriners are all 33-degree Masons. Whether or not they are still in Masonry, that's up to them. So they say, but they are, once they're inducted into the Shriners, they're basically Shriners for life. And their mission is to like just help out the needy and hold charity events and parades and play with the kiddies in their clown outfits. And we always know that to be very wholesome. Drive around in little cars. So this does go with, they held a Shriners parade. I think it was in Chicago the same week of this race, interestingly enough. But yeah, I mean, there was more to this race than just Bell winning, but we certainly called it. So I'm gonna put like a check mark with a circle, and then I'll just put a fat check mark on the third race he won. So this is where we were like, okay, 2 in a row. We were feeling good because at this point we're 4 races in and we're for 50% with the winner, not just what might happen, but the winner of the race. And Yeah, this race was funny because we noticed the potential for a Hiram Abiff ritual, which, if you guys don't know, it centers around the three ruffians, and he was going for his third straight win, and there was other things about it too. But I think the funniest part about this race is the teaser joke they always got to play, the shaming rituals that they have to do. And if you guys know about masonry, you know that to be in to go into the higher degrees of masonry, you have to go through shaming rituals. That's what they are at the end of the day. They'll say that they're like rites of passage. They'll frame it that way, but the same way like a fraternity does, as they're like making you run down the street naked with a shot collar on. It's like, oh yeah, it's just a rite of passage, bro. Okay, sure. Anyway, so if you guys remember, this is a. Let me pull it up here. Let me show you here. Let's look at a couple of DNFs. A lot of DNFs this race, but look at 29 and 30 here. Good old Bubba and Leggy. This is I think Leggy's first race of the season, and it's female driver. If you guys aren't aware, and Mr. Bubba Wallace is the only black driver. And what do you know? That not only do they DNF, but they crash into each other. She takes him out, and so obviously, guys, this is this is paying homage to the Order of the Eastern Star and the Prince Hall Freemasons. Showing that they're lower and lesser than the pure white that Christopher Bell represents. And if you guys haven't seen Christopher Bell, let me show you. He's white. He's white. He's just a good old white boy. So vanilla, if you will. So
got that brisk iced tea in him.
Oh, he sure does. I mean, he's got Briscoe and Briscoe's got Bell. We'll talk about that when we get a little later on. But do you remember anything else from this race? Because I remember this being like, I was getting excited about NASCAR around now because like calling two in a row, this was I thought it was really cool because like up until now we were, I don't know, I think we applied the same methods for mostly all season. Some things we were more easy to spot than others, but landing of course, like I said, we did not call the first race he won, but being able to call the second and third, like who's doing that? And if you say you had a future in, like that would be big money. I don't care even if he's favorited. If you call somebody to win a three-peat well before it would have happened, that would definitely be worth your money, I'm sure. But do you remember anything else happening in this race?
No, this was that first Phoenix race on the year where the championship would be at the end of it. The only thing weird I remember when this race happened, because I went to casino and I bet on this race, and then I quickly looked at the finish, and when I looked at, I think it said Hamlin won and Bell was like second or third or something or fourth. It was weird, and then I looked at it. I'm like, oh man, we lost, and I threw my stuff away. Then as I was leaving, I looked at it again, and I saw it said Bell won. I'm like, what? What is this? I'm like, I've never seen it do that. And then it said Bell won. So I'm like, oh, and I had to dig through the garbage and go find my ticket and go cash it. But yeah, that was the one weird thing I remember with that one was why that came up the way it did at the end, saying that Hamlin won or something. Or I think it said Hamlin. I think it said Bell was like second or third or fourth. But yeah, I don't know. That was the only weird thing I really remember about that. But yeah, this is when we were starting to build that momentum up.
Certainly. And Bell has a very weird, like, what is he's born on like the 222nd day of the year, and I believe that's Bell that has those weird numbers where I think we pinned him on potentially winning a different race where it was a crazy date numerology lineup that he had. It was like 111, 222, 333 involved, and like his birth matchup, his birth date numerology, and the day of the race date numerology had like 5 out of 6 matches. across. I've never seen anything like it. It was very weird, but he didn't win that race. So I was like, what's the point of that? But who knows? Maybe that's the day he put the cloak on and drank the blood or something. Who knows what's going on more importantly behind the scenes. This is just the sport that that draws our attention. I'm sure that they're doing, there's importance to what they do. I used to, just before I moved out here, I lived, our neighbors were like I want to say Satanists. I know that there's different sects of those things, but they would do like ritual meetings in their backyard. We all separated us was a fence. You've seen my old house, so just that fence in the backyard. And they'd be over there just doing like putting weird, crazy red cloaks on and wearing kilts and doing weird. And we'd listen. Me and Adrian would listen in. And they're just to the dark one in the ground. We give ourselves to thee, and it's just like, oh, okay, this is fun. And then you see like on any other day, they're just like, hey, how's it going? It's like, so yeah, who knows what the true rituals behind the scenes are? But the ritual was clear here with the Shriners 400, and it just continues on in other sports. What was the more late? There's a late thing that happened just recently with Shriners. They were. Maybe it'll come to me, but recently I can't remember what sport is why. But yeah, they're heavily involved in. Oh, maybe it wasn't a sport. It was like a hospital issue. Someone died at a Shriners or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, look into guys. The Shriners is that's a rabbit hole in and of itself. If you guys know about missing kids in hospitals and the understanding that every hospital, you might as well say every hospital, you can't know, but they have underground networks, and they'll say it's because for certain importances of things, generators or things of that nature being earthquake proof, so that the lights, sure, all that stuff, but they got tunnels under every hospital. So just keep that in mind, guys, when we talk about tunnels and children's hospitals. Very interesting. And think about how many times, you're not allowed to be in the room as a parent as they come out and tell you your child's dead.
Yep.
Very interesting. I mean, it's the level of trust you have to have when it comes to sickness. It's a scary thought, but it's just like, man, the places we're put into. But maybe that's something we can talk about. Let's go back to the cars. Ciao. This one, I want to see anybody that had this on their ticket, but I think what we could it's funny, this is the first Las Vegas one too.
Yep.
And I think Hamlin won the second one. I want to say.
Yeah. That was to get Hamlin to the final four. Yep.
Yeah, we're getting to Hamlin. His run will be coming up, and I say his run, but his run really ran from the middle of the season all the way to the end. He was cooking.
Yeah, this was one of those significant wins for that 21 car. It's always interesting when that 21 car wins because it's rare. I forget what the full meaning or ritual was behind this win, but there's always something when that 21, the Wood brothers win in that car.
I don't know if we figured it out when we talked about it this week, but it was.
I remember something. I think I might have shared it with you. I think I might have sent it in text that week or after he won, maybe, or maybe it was later that week. What it was, but or was I think of a first time winner. I think that's what it was. The first time winners in that car. That every time that car wins, it's been like a new person and a first time winner.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while. Because last year, like Harrison Burton won in that 21 car, and there's been other people at different times, but.
The March 16th is interesting. I always try to figure out what the biblical connotation is there because, probably the most recited verse in the Bible is John 3:16. So I wouldn't doubt that there was something to that. Joshua, his name is Josh. Joshua is the name of Jesus. So, or, Yeshua, Joshua, those are interchangeable names. So looking back, this is definitely nothing I talked about, but looking at it now with some hindsight, seeing that it was March 16th, I don't think I was paying attention to that before. So obviously think about it. Most races take place on Sunday as well. We were talking about the Pope as well. When did the Pope die? When did the new Pope was installed? I wonder if did that happen before the season started? No, it didn't.
It was it was April's for my birthday.
Okay. So this is right before the Pope. Interesting. Well, that's a quick skip there. Not skip necessarily, but you make a great point with the first time winners thing. But yeah, this is not something we called for sure. Then oh, did it just oops. There we go. Then we got Homestead, and this is Larson's first win. I don't believe we called this one either. This must have been a pretty dominant win from him. He looks like he won a couple, at least a stage or so, as well as the race with how many points he scored. And I wish I had like notes. I really need to see. This is something moving into next season that I need to really be better about. I'm on a double screen computer. I have no excuse as to why I can't have a notepad open as we go through things. Uh, First of all, maybe because I'm just living in the moment more than thinking about the future and going over having an overview. I wasn't ever thinking about having an overview at this time. But yeah, next season for sure, I need to make sure I take better notes or good notes. That way we can go back and remember these types of things, what we were thinking at the time, because that might still have relevance that we're not seeing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't even remember who we thought might win at Homestead. I mean, I remember talking about Homestead in Miami but not remembering who could win it. But I'm not surprised. I like why I'm saying that is because I don't remember exactly if Homestead Miami had a 201 connection in their name or the city that it's held in. Maybe that was the first indication for Kyle Larson to win this, but I can't I can't exactly remember. And remember, guys, these are all verifiable things. I mean, if you guys really want to do the work that I plan on doing, making a kind of like a montage of our called races, but you guys can go back to all our episodes are on basically Monday morning, you could say, but they're out, Sunday, late Sunday. So you just go to the March 23rd or 24th episode that we uploaded, and we will have been talking about this race. So just for reference, Wallace's best finish so far. I think we talked about that. There was a couple races that really looked good for Bubba, and he raced really good in the races that we thought looked good for him. And I remember one of them, he was sitting there like it's first or second or something, and we're just like, there's no way we just called the Bubba race, but he lost at the end. And I was just like, oh my goodness, that would have been a call.
Yeah.
And one thing that we did say for sure that is that Bubba will win one race. So the later it got in the season, we were like, okay, one of these is reserved for Bubba. So it's just a matter of time until he gets one. And we were absolutely right. He got his one race.
We didn't think it was going to be a big Brickyard win either, but it was.
So let's move on. Keep a note that was, wait, am I doing, okay, got the Barry Larson. The cookout, I believe this was the first of his two-peat, I want to say. Interesting that Bell is right. They were kind of attached to the hip as well during the season. A little bit. Obviously teammates, so people would just be like, duh, they're teammates. They're just, but Bubba had two. That's what if you look at Bubba's season last year, he did pretty well in the points. He did a lot better than some with I can't remember where he was at in the top 10, but it's not like he was 10th, was he? He was like, I can't remember exactly where he was at, but he did well with points. He had a lot of great like a lot of top fives and things of the top tens and stuff for not being really, for being pretty much an under the radar driver, I would say. But Martinsville, here's a 201. We've talked about this. I guess I might as well. Well, I'm yapping about it, but Martinsville, VA, the way it's written. And we're not going to go over every single city and town and talk about the connections to the Jesuit order, but we've seen them. There's I don't think we've seen one that is just like, I wonder what they're doing here. There's always 54s involved, 177s, 72s, and it's just like, yeah, you could say they're arbitrary, but when it's every single track in the obscure cities and places just outside of big towns that don't have the Jesuit order numbers connections, and then you'll put the little town or the sub town that they build the track in, and it's just boom, 54, 72. So it's just like, not to mention just the straight up 201s, whether or not it's the sponsor or the track itself. But yeah, Martinsville, VA, and we had Denny Hammonds, like we said. This is man, I'm curious to go back and see which win this was for Hamlin. I can't remember. Did we call Hamlin's first win? No, 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 no. We definitely called the next one. This was his 58th win or 50, like, I can't remember. But we compared his wins and we saw he could get his neck. I'm thinking of Goodyear. Here we go. Darlington. This is the one we definitely called. This was the numbers matched up with him getting his 58th or 59th win. I can't remember. Like I said, we had to go back to really know for sure.
If this was his second win on the season, it would have been because he's got 60 wins. He won 6 races. This would have been his 56th win if it was the second one. His first one would have been 55th.
Yeah, either way. I just remember
he came in with 54, yeah.
I remember the numbers pointed towards either the number 55, whatever it was, but on top of that, I mean, if it was his 56th win too, that's the NASCAR number. That's But we definitely had him pinned to get his second win in a row. And what's funny is I remember talking about at this race that he was highly likely, after winning this race, we were like, yeah, he's highly likely to get his third in a row because I think the numbers pointed right back to him. And yeah, I mean, these guys were driving hot at the beginning of the season. But this is just look at the image they show. Guys, come on. I know it's racing. It's a checkered flag. Okay, come on. Come on, guys. They put it in the mirror. You guys need to wake up. But anyway, and that's Mr. 201 doing that too. So there's God, it's so funny. So yeah, this is Larson's second win, and he seemed like a hot driver early, but he definitely cooled off. But you see why they cooled him off.
Yep.
And we had Hamlin to win this, and as you see, Hamlin finished second. I'm telling you, do you remember this? Do you remember how Larson stole it? Because I remember the title to our video was Grand Larceny because Larson came out of at the end and stole it. But we were sitting there I was getting hype. I was like, we literally just called another 2 in a row, and then boom, Hamlin loses it, and I'm like, what? But and this
I can't remember. I know because Larson dominated the Homestead win. He dominated the his third win too. His last win. He dominated that one. I don't know how much. I can't remember how much he dominated this one.
He did.
This race is kind of a blur.
I'm sure he won a stage and then won the race, or at least I think. I don't know. Interestingly enough, he had Gibbs one of his best finishes too. Did Gibbs ever get second, or was this his best finish? Can't remember. I know he was racing second.
I think he
Multiple
got a
races.
second. I think he got
Okay.
1 second.
We'll see.
Maybe.
So I just remember it's something we'd have to go back on, but you know, I'll circle this X because it was a close call because he was racing right at the end. Also, I think this is the race where we pinned that we were able to. We were talking all sorts of stuff about where's Bristol at?
Tennessee.
Yeah, that is Tennessee. Okay. Anyway, so we were talking all sorts of. Oh no. Uh, we were starting to pin.
And the Bristol, that's another 201.
Yes. And so no surprise. Uh, here we go. No surprise, Mr. 201 wins it. Yes, you're right, Bristol. Is it all the way spelled out? Yes, Bristol, Tennessee, 201. Absolutely great call. Just for a reminder, guys. Kyle Miata.
Yeah.
So I mean, check that out, guys. You think he was losing at this track? So this is, you know, chalk it up to us being, I think, a little ahead. I mean, I remember Hamlin had some crazy numbers, but obviously the script is in it for him to usher in Mr. 201 at the 201 track. And for some reason, I guess we must have missed that because, like, why we wouldn't just immediately call Larson to win that? Wait. Am I tripping? Hold on. Okay. So this isn't okay. I was thinking this is no, wait. Wait, is this the race that we called? Okay, I might be wrong on this one actually. My thought process. I know that during our episode we called the three-peat for Hamlin, but is this the one where I saw the death of his agent? I think this is. I think we did
I
call
think
Kyle
I think
Larson to
I
win
think
this.
so, yeah.
Sorry, guys. I know this seems a little bit all over the place, but why I'm trying to go through Xfinity is because which one was it? Psyaps? Yeah. Yeah, it was April 12th. Yeah, I'm sorry. So we did it still counts though, because during our episode, you would have heard us call Denny Hamlin to win this. And I didn't even make the call based on the obvious right here. Sorry, guys. I don't know. We dropped the ball on a few things this season that are just head scratchers how we didn't see it, or maybe we did, and I don't know what's going through our head. But keep this in mind moving forward. At the very least, keep these as cautionary tales moving forward. The William Byron Tennessee thing, the 201 Kyle Larson. Look at him in Tennessee when he's racing. Obviously, look at Byron still too, especially if there's something going on with the mayor. We'll talk about Bristol and William Byron here very shortly. That was the second the second puzzle. But so I'm sorry, guys. A day or two or so, a day or 2 or 3 days before, or maybe 2 days before, a little bit before, I was perusing the NASCAR news because there was a major death in NASCAR, and the major death was actually a different guy, but he was tied to Kyle Larson's manager slash agent or publicist or public manager, whatever they call those guys, who worked for Hendrick, who was like well known and throughout the league or whatever. But the another guy died the same week who was like a much larger name. He was like a journalist, and he did a lot of the like editorials for NASCAR for a long time. And like so, like you had this week of death in NASCAR where these two big names died. And by the way, Kyle Larson's like manager. He was pretty young. I think he was like in his 40s. So he wasn't some like old guy. The other guy was a little bit older, but Kyle Larson's manager was not old. And here, it was John Edwards. Here we go. And if you guys notice this, April 12th. So, and this is written April 12th, but the news came out, I think, a little bit before. So, and this news comes, you know, out of Bristol, Tennessee, because that's where they were. Anyway, so I text
And April 12th, that's
Austin.
the 100 and is that the 102nd day of the year?
I don't
10,
know.
or is that 10?
That's something
Because
I
I
gotta
know
look.
April 5th is the 95th day of the year. And that would be a week later. So then 102,
Yeah,
that'd be the
102nd
reflection of
day. Yeah,
201. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the reflection of 201.
Good call. So yeah, sorry about that. So unfortunately, this call didn't make the episode because I figured it out before. And this is, before I was doing community posts too, or even thought about doing community posts. Looking back, I wish I had. That way it was documented. But I was sitting there like, yo, Kyle Larson looks poised to win. And so, like, why I was pointing that out for Xfinity is because he not only won the Xfinity race, but he also won the Cup Series race the week his manager died. So, pretty obvious ritual there. And then, of course, made even more obvious by the gematria. It's just like, ugh, ugh. But I'll peel it back a little bit. I'll put a check and an X because we called Hamlin, but initially changed our call. So I'll be a little humble on that one. I will say this, go just so as you guys understand. I was like certain when I texted Austin. I was like, "Bro, Larson's gonna win." And lo and behold, that was another one that was super fun come Sunday because I work every Sunday morning, and so like the races start, and I get off work shortly after that, and so I'm just usually doing stuff, but I'm able to just check the little ESPN scrolling thing, and that was another. It was fun for me having being able to notice what they were doing there. Here was an interesting one because we were
Cindric
looking.
wins it on Austin Dillon. So you have Austin winning on Austin's birthday. Then my
Yep,
birthday was 2 days later. So it just all came together.
absolutely an Austin party. And this was so Talladega. Um, what this opened up or what this said for this is like, I mean, let's kind of document this too because we have a Barry win and we have a Cindric win, and so far, interestingly enough, they're both Fords. But not a lot of outside looking at, not a lot of. Keep this in mind that the field for the playoffs, you can start to understand the manipulation and how they get what they want by the time the playoffs roll around. Because there wasn't a whole lot of winners to be had this season, different winners. I mean, you had SVG winning 5, you had Hamlin winning 6 before the playoffs, or no, SVG winning 5 and Hamlin winning 5, I think. Um,
SVG
so
got to win in the playoffs. He's the only guy to win
yeah,
in the playoffs.
okay, yeah. So what was that? That was his 5th win, and Hamlin had 5 during the regular season. I might be muffing that up. I can't. Sorry, guys. But either way, I mean, there's not. Bell had 3 wins. Did he? Those his only 3? No, he won 4. Right.
I think he
Well,
won 4.
yeah,
Yeah.
he got his 5th in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
because he got the 201 for the 201,
Okay,
the Toyota.
but Larson won 3 or 4. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of individual drivers getting wins. Of course, we'll talk about the Chastain win and we're talking right now about the Cindric win and the Barry win, and then I guess the Bubba win. Elliott had a couple of wins, so there wasn't a lot of different winners this season at all. I guess we could document it. By the end of it, I'll have it documented. So, but did you put a feeler out ahead of time for this Cindric win? Did we talk about this? I know we talked about it afterwards. I don't remember if this is
Yeah,
one.
I did think because of how I picked him for the 500, he came a half a lap of winning in their Penske and Ford are good at restrictor plate track. So I did think since he did really good there, there the restrictor plate track before, he'd probably do really good here. So he was. I don't know if he was my. I definitely picked him to win, but I don't know if he was my top bet. He might have been. He was up there. I don't know if he was my top bet, but I definitely picked him for that reason. For especially just like I said, just how he did in the 500, coming a half a lap, leading the most laps, and then being in the Ford and the Penske, and they're really good at restrictor plate tracks. So I figured he was definitely going to get a win probably there, like on one of those tracks throughout the year. So it was. I can't remember if he was my top pick, but I definitely picked him in a sense. But I can't remember anybody else that really came to mind besides Cindric.
Yeah, sorry guys. Like I said, better notes coming next season for sure, and maybe probably a more, I guess you could say not professional necessarily, but a more what's the word? More organized approach for me for sure, at least when dealing with this. Because yeah, I mean, a lot of this just took some indexing, and we wouldn't have missed a lot of the things that we did miss throughout the season that were pretty easy catches, just paying attention to the same things every week. But we'd let things slip because we're looking at certain narratives, and other ones would slip by us. So definitely coming next season. But this is also, yeah, we might be talking about our W's, but we're also talking about all, we had obviously several L's, if you want to call them that. It's not like we were claiming to be professional or anything, but calling the games, I mean, but yeah, we're trying to show it. We're, going over, we're trying to show it all here. Not just the wins. So we had the Cindric win. Okay. And then here we go. This was okay. I remember this. This is on, I don't remember we certainly didn't call Logano winning this, but I think things made sense why he won it, having to do with the 5-4. Obviously, that's a very Jesuit day. The 54, also 45, has some. So I don't remember exactly what we were high on this week. I know we looked into Worth, the company, and things of that nature. I don't remember what we found about them.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's like a Swedish company or something like that, or I think Swedish, maybe. Anyway, but yeah, let's just not get too caught up with that one. Definitely didn't call it. Anyway,
Did Logano have Worth on his car? I thought there was something more to that Worth.
let's look at it.
Or maybe I'm just tripping. Yeah, the
AAA.
AAA.
I think we did spot something about Worth being on someone's car, though.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That Worth that was on someone's car.
Hmm. Might be a little bit too much to research right this. Maybe if you guys remember this, I do remember exactly what you're talking about. Somebody had a Worth car. What was it? Anything to do with Xfinity potentially? I don't remember. I'm afraid to lose my spot. I don't want to click it. So yeah, there's another one that kind of was just surprising, and unfortunately I don't remember who we were thinking could have won this one, because we were making calls almost every week. So there were some weeks we didn't make a call though too. So I can't remember if this is we weren't taking it like hyper seriously, guys. I mean, pretty much all season we weren't taking it hyper seriously, but certain weeks we definitely made cemented calls based on certain things. And I don't remember if we did for this one. I also don't remember it ever saying by Liqua Molly.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
So I've never looked that up. So I'm sure
I
if
remember
I
the worth 400, but that and where
there's
did
a
that
couple
come
that are
from?
like that. As we go through this, watch. There's going to be some added words to things that weren't there. Here's another one that we did see ahead of time. We
This
marked.
was Sabu's death, Larson's last win that was connected with Sabu when it happened.
I can pull
And both
that.
of their names equal 201.
Yes. Let's see. What's his? Terrence Michael Brunk. A lot of Michael middle names. I mean, there's stuff to be studied, guys. There is stuff to be studied in the names of these athletes and things, or let's quote unquote athletes. A lot of shared middle names, a lot of interesting things going on. The more you look into it, but absolutely, he has the 201 connection. Dies, then you get obviously I showed you the Kyle Miata Larson. What I will, of course, 201 in the same cipher as well.
Yep.
What isn't shown is, let's see. I'm gonna have to like click this. No, I'll just Google it. Advent Health. Was it Advent Healthcare? It had it. It's the way it was written somewhere that we were looking it up.
Think that
I
was
think
it.
it was Advent Healthcare. No. Okay, let's keep. I'll have to like click on it. Man, was it organization? It was a long. Oh, I'm typing it. Go. Oops. No. Is it just org? No. Damn it. I don't remember whether we were looking up on the website or just like the NASCAR teasers for it. But there's certainly a 201 and Ventus Health System. Is that it? No, I don't think that's it. Because
Yeah.
Adventist is different. I mean, they are Adventists. Was it Adventist Health org? OR. Uh, this is the moment we have to go back to our video, I think, before we take too much time on it. But there's certainly a 201 in this. Oh, was it Advent Healthcare? Was it like doubled down on the health?
It might have been something like that from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there it is.
it sounds redundant too, but this is how it was written. This is not
Yep.
like us adding healthcare just to say it. This was how it was written.
Yep.
And I mean, just look at that. For Mr. Michael Brunk. And if I remember, how did he die? How did he die? Part of me remembers talking about how this guy died.
Yeah, because we did the episode and then I found out that he died like right after that. It was like that night or the next day, and then that's when I messaged you and I started talking about it, and then
I mean, we looked at
we
all of
talked
this.
about it the week after. The week after we were talking about how this was the ritual.
Yeah, we went through all of this stuff. Can't you click on death? Anyway.
You just died. That's all we know.
Not been publicly released, so that's why we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
He just dies at 60, you know.
There
There you
wasn't any
go.
rituals going on. That 201 stuff is just a coincidence. Guys are looking into this stuff too hard.
Let the family grieve, you know.
Yeah, he was 60. He had a hard life, man. He was a wrestler. Give him a break.
So yeah, all on the same cipher. Keep peep that, guys, too. Interesting connecting numbers too here. Some reshufflings, but
Yep.
so yeah, we were ahead of Larson on this one. That was huge. And I don't remember how the race took place, but this was Larson's last win. So keep that in mind moving forward too. That also the date May 11th too. That's a lot like November 5th, which we just went,
Yep.
just had the 5th of November, very Jesuit day.
Yep.
And as far as May 11th, like 511, 511. Let's just see if is it a California thing? Okay, not 511, you dipshit. Well, okay, maybe it's not something like well known, but yeah, 511, there's I guess I could be corrected if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's either something esoteric about 511 or anyway, I'll drop it for now, but if I remember it, I'll mention it again. So there was a call from us, and then that moved into the All-Star. What is the All-Star Open? I don't remember it being called that.
That's the All-Star race is this is like to get into the All-Star
Oh,
race.
right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I was like, wait, Hocevar didn't even win. Like, okay.
Yeah, this is an expedition race too. Like to
Yeah,
start the
exactly.
year doesn't count for nothing,
But I believe North Wilkesboro is another 201.
I think so, yeah. Yep.
201, 84, 78. Really good numbers there. Fine numbers.
It's no wonder they had to stop racing there after 96 and get back to all these years later.
It was a 201 season. That's for sure.
Yep.
I mean, look at the consolation prizes they gave out on this pointless race. Look at the names, guys. You're not going to see these names ever again. So it's just like we talked about this all season long of how they, like this was a season of consolation prizes. Look at Denny Hamlin. Oh, we got the ultimate consolation prize. And now he might end up getting, that might be even bigger consolation prize if they lose in court this summer, or I mean this off season, with the whole lawsuit, which I might not have. I failed to mention that, I think, but why we were talking about Bubba and Reddick and certain things like that is because they were clued in being attached to the whole 23XI thing. And I remember there being a few races where there was like a Michael Jordan narrative on the board. I know at Charlotte there was a pretty big one. Obviously, if you guys don't know, he went to school in North Carolina. Anyway, but yeah, the whole drama this season was around the 23XI and Trackhouse lawsuit against NASCAR, and we've covered that in depth. I won't bore you with it now because it is really boring. I'm not gonna lie. So then you have the All-Star race, of course, won by Christopher Bell. Doesn't really count, but you could kind of say that it did. I'm not gonna write those two down. See if there's anything to glean from this. You know what is funny about Christopher Bell? You could say like 201. Like The number 21.
Yeah.
So, you could say this: the sentence 201 actually counts towards this. Whenever he wins 201. Anyway, just a funny thing, which obviously I'm not saying that is the major ritual behind it, but it is funny that
And
he
look
did.
at Joey Logano in second, 2-2-2.
Yeah, a lot of twos going on there. I thought it was funny when he was racing for AAA in the 1-1-1.
Yeah.
So
Just doing a 1-1-1 in the 2-2-2.
looking like binary on his car almost. Could have been something here for Ross Chastain. This could have been like something to catch here to because he wins next week, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he wins the week after the All-Star
From
race.
dead last too.
Oh, you're right. Yep, absolutely. He qualified dead last and won. And if I remember, this is the Byron record setter too. So this is that they love. This
Or
was
that was Darlington when
was it?
Byron. That was Darlington.
Oh, okay.
But Byron dominated this one too.
Okay, so this might have been where we did see a narrative for a 23XI driver potentially. I want to say that I at least thought that. This, of course, being a road course too, and this is all pre Van Gisbergen, so his meteoric rise isn't yet, guys. Hold your horses.
This is the oval race they do, the 600. Then they also have the Charlotte road course as well.
Yeah, it's a dual course. Gotcha. Yeah, I remember that now. There's certain things like that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little iffy on the information like that. Yeah, no, you're right. This was an oval, but it's called road course. Yeah, I remember the second race they did there. I was like, okay, I was confused. So I don't remember the ins and outs of this race. I just remember, there was something with he drove for the jockeys, like this honoring the soldiers car.
Yep.
And there was we did some digging into that, and there was definitely a ritual there with the soldier. I can't remember what it tied to exactly, or if it was just numbers, gematria based. I guess, it's too bad they don't have just like a picture. But like, there's a picture that they like to use of him screaming. It's pretty mellow. This is the one that goes around all that. But if you guys see this, it's Folds of Honor. That's what it was called, like Folds of Honor. And I just don't remember the exact ins and outs about it, but they certainly used this, and I just don't remember exactly what our conclusion was about it post race, but there was definitely a ritual with that. Okay, so Chastain. Can I want to say we put a feeler out for a Ford to win. If it was Blaney, it might have been Blaney to win here. But I don't 100% remember. Do you remember this one better than I do?
Yeah, I don't remember this one very well.
Nashville. Byron did get a top 5 in Tennessee, so yeah, not too sure about this one. Now I'd have to go back and check our thumbnails. There's a potential that this is what kind of opened the doors to where we started talking about the dark horse and that, because we had talked about the Ford Pete already. Before this, we had already talked about the Ford Pete as a narrative. There wasn't a whole lot going off of it at the points that we talked about it, but we were like looking at it and talking about potential for Logano and things of that nature. And right around now, we were kind of putting the pieces together on the narrative for a Ford Pete, even more probably after this race. Because you'd have to go and look at our thumbnails and stuff too, because the things we talked about, it's displayed in the thumbnail, and I can't remember when I used Ryan Blaney riding the Dark Horse Mustang, the actual dark horse, but I'll put an X there because I don't remember if we had a soft call for a Ford or Blaney. Something feels like we did something there. But anyway, on to the next. Try to get through these a little quicker. Sorry, guys. This next Hamlin win at Michigan. I don't remember calling this one either, to be honest. Got to remember, guys, like I said, we put out a lot of like soft calls and things, or didn't have like a set in stone like call every single week. It was mainly when we saw things. We weren't taking it so serious that we were making a serious call every single week. We were just
I think it was something with his sponsor Progressive, and then I think there was something there with that.
Which one was this?
It was Michigan. Or Yahoo.
Oh,
Wow.
Yahoo.
Yeah, that's what it was. There was something with that, the sponsor.
Yeah, we definitely looked into this, and there was definitely something to do with Yahoo. There's due diligence here.
Yahoo in Michigan.
Yeah, got the 64. Like Michigan. There also, I think, depending on there could have been a narrative with what win this was for him. You know what? Let's just so we're on track. Let's just quickly look. I don't know the best ways to navigate this website yet. Oh, wait. So he ended with 60. So this is his 56th win at Michigan. There could have been something with that. Oh, no, wait. This is 57th win.
Yeah, 57th, yeah.
Because we were tracking his wins to the point where I'm pretty sure we called this win because there was a big old fat 59 on the board.
Yeah, that one we called.
We also had I remember a community member had a good point in this one too. A comment or something of that nature that we were like, yeah. Where are we at? Okay, so I think that we're up to snuff. Yeah, because that was Blaney. Okay. So something to do with Yahoo there. I know I remember talking about Yahoo. So obviously the 64 with Michigan. I don't think that was the extent of the ritual there or the narrative there. There was something else. I think it probably had to do with his win, his 57th win. Because we were looking at Denny Hamlin's wins each time, or comparing them. So here's where it got fun. This one had a lot going for it. They tried to trip you up as well, and let me I don't want to click over because I don't want to have to go all the way back. Maybe I will. But basically, this was the going down to Mexico race, this little gnat. And they had been just poster boying Daniel Suarez, obviously with him being the only Mexican American driver. So they were kind of like trying to throw you off, but we noticed that the poster for this race. I mean, I could try to find it. I mean, we went deep on this one, guys. There's a lot to this Mexican road course. It's named after two brothers who died racing. A Formula One driver and like another. I think they both raced Formula One, but another one raced in different types of cars too. But
This was a safety culture paint scheme too.
yep. And also I think it's also WeatherTech. He has the WeatherTech as well on this car,
Yep.
and it actually rained in Mexico.
Yep.
There was a lot to this race, but the posters they put up for this, guys, SVG was nowhere near a race all season long. Yet, but there he is. I gotta show it. I gotta find it. Mexico. Let's just see if they. I know it's just like poster shit. Here we go. Why is it gonna be so small?
I forgot they're up at like 7,000 feet elevation too for this race. They're way out there in the mountains.
Yep. I can blow it up. Just want to say that the resolution of this picture is 201 by 251. But anyway, terrible resolution, guys. Sorry, but there he is, just poking out of nowhere. It's just like, hey. Immediately, I was like, hey, who's that? Why is he in there? What are they doing with my homeboy? Why is he there? Because this, by the way, guys, the entire season, SVG was somewhat of a running joke. Not necessarily just a joke, but we had mentioned him and wondered, well, are they going to do something with this guy with him driving the 88 after Trump, led the pace car? So here, so much stuff lined up, it being a road course as well as him being on the poster. And you mentioned the safety culture, WeatherTech. There was something else that we noticed with SVG. Is Mexico 88? No.
I think it
I
might.
can't. No, maybe not 88. Mexico. Was it Mexico City? No. There was
Safety culture? Forget what that.
no. So whether I don't remember if it was sponsor related or where was it? Was it the course itself? Autodromo Hermanos. I mean, yeah, we did a deep dive on this guy, so it was pretty fun. I just clicked it. God damn it. Gosh darn it, I should say. $139 is kind of interesting.
Maybe Autodromo.
I don't think it is the 34th prime. Interesting. No. I'm blanking on it. Either way. So we made a call for despite all of the propaganda for Suarez and the what they could do for, we did mention it. We did talk about it that they could use Suarez here potentially because they love doing that. They love the unlikely stories and everything to just line up perfectly, and then just say, "Oh, it's once it just had to be the script. You couldn't write it any better." Well, what they did is they hid the ritual behind Saturday. Oh, okay. So he won. Oh, great. Where are we at here? Sorry, guys, a stupid thing. I should probably be doing it on a different. Was this? No, there we go. So, Mr. Suarez. God. So
He
stupid.
started dead last in the Xfinity race and won.
Absolutely. They love doing that. Where was it?
He did the Ross Chastain.
There we go. They had Suarez win the Xfinity race. And did Gisbergen race in the Saturday race here? I don't know. He didn't. No, because I think he qualified first, right? I think he qualified well in this race, Gisbergen. Potentially. I don't remember exactly, but he ends up taking it for some reason. When you go backwards, it sticks, but if you go forward, it resets it. It's like, thank God for technology. But so yeah, this is our first one, and this is where we were just like, yo, we knew something ahead of when we were supposed to know it. And I remember, obviously gloating about it. And we're just like, I want to see one person's ticket, one person's future, saying they bet their money on Gisberg in this race. And so that one came through for us, and the first of many, because after that we were like, okay, we could see the potential for this guy. And dude, first of all, never mind. Okay, let's take away the whole Blaney narrative. We nailed SVG's narrative. Exactly what he represents this season, we nailed it. And now we have an open-ended narrative into next season to go against the juggernaut of NASCAR, Jeff Gordon's record. Like, dude, I want to know one other person that saw SVG being that guy. Nobody did. It's crazy.
And this was the most competitive race. Like Ty Gibbs was like right there with them and like having a chance to like possibly, get the win there. And like the other races, he just flat out dominates. I mean, literally 20-second wins, like miles ahead of the competition. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, this was another weird one where there was a rain. No, it never delayed, but it did rain or something like that. Did they ever caution it? I don't think they cautioned it, but it
I
did
think
rain.
that they had like some rain tire stuff for it rained maybe a little bit there in like the beginning or something to kind of I
But I
think it was
remember
like
there
kind of
being
towards
some
the
craziness
beginning a
at
little
the end.
bit.
Like I remember Bubba racing well in this one too, and he finished down here with Gibbs as well, and they were racing well and something near the end or something like that. Interestingly enough. Maybe Reddick was doing well in this race too, I want to say. What happened? Did he
Reddick
crash?
did really good in the next road course with Gibbs. Those two were up there at SVG, but
So got a big win there. And we had Pocono. So here's the next yeah, Briscoe only won one race in the regular season, right?
yeah, the
Yeah.
other two were in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the third driver who only won one, I think. Chastain, Cindric, Barry. Oh, fourth. Okay. And I don't think we had Briscoe. We had talked about Briscoe though. We also didn't know about not saying we talked about him for this race, but we had been looking at him. I remember, who did we have for this race? Was it Hamlin? I think, dude, it's something
It
coming
might have
back
been Hamlin
with
because
the
we
tricky
talked about how
triangle
good
thing.
his first two wins came here in 2006 when he swept
Yeah.
them.
Okay, yeah, there was definitely something there we were talking about. And now, I mean, looking back, if you guys remember these races too, there could have been something else as well where there's a lot of manipulation this season. We've covered it very, very well, but let's try to pick up the pace here. Elliott's win.
We called this one. This was like, I don't know if we called it before, but we called it that week when he qualified where he qualified 15th like Atlanta. And then
right.
and then he only led that last lap to win it. He was leading at different parts, but then he fell back and then looked like he wasn't going to win, and he led that last lap and won. Another Kozlowski for second again too. So
And this is before we talked about Keselowski, because like there was like 1 or 2 races where we were thinking Keselowski and he raced like his ass off. He was like first or second, like so close, and then didn't win. But it's just like, why did we know that he was going to have a great race? It's just so weird. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I do remember that. There was something else too, because the way this race finished, I remember there being, it says last lap pass. I hear that, but what were the wrecks? Was something to do with one of the wrecks that was interesting? Was it late in the race? Echo Park. You see, I just don't remember. Where's Echo Park Speedway at?
This is in Atlanta, and
Oh,
that's where
Atlanta.
Chase Elliott from Georgia. There was
Yeah,
the
that's right.
Georgia
There it
connection.
is. There it is.
Yeah,
There, that's what it was. That's what it
yeah.
was. Okay. Thank you. So yeah. Moving on. Here's the street course. They called this 15 miles away. No doubt in our minds, absolutely no doubt in our minds. And we just like, our chins were just like this the whole next episode, because there was not a single other person we talked about even potentially winning this. There was some interesting things too with going on politically, I think, with Chicago. Not to mention, we tied in the Pope. At this point, there was a new pope, and
And the rain
anyway,
and the weather tech too. He had the weather
yeah,
tech car, and the rain was
and yeah,
coming
the
at the
rain.
end, and Gibbs got second.
Yes, sir. So this was just a automatic for us. And then the two Pete's, I'm
He had the
pretty
Red
sure
Bull car for Sonoma. He was in the Red
I'm
Bull. We called
positively
that because of the
called this,
88. There was the 88 in there.
because I'm pretty sure we did not miss an SVG race after his first win. So, and I say pretty sure, but I think I'm by saying pretty sure, I'm pretty sure I'm positive.
Yeah, we definitely called this one.
So yeah, they're okay. I'll move on just for lack of remembering. Dover.
This was the Bell one, and it even showed Bell on the
Oh,
highlight.
right.
It even put him on the highlights like he won the race. Like, he's the guy. Like, here you go. Like, everything was there for Bell. 201st 201st race on the 201st day of the year. He had the lead twice, and literally spun out at Dover, like leading, going for the lead twice, and the whole field missed him twice. Really impossible to do at Dover. And no one hitting you. Even the first time he spun, like everyone went around. The second time he literally was spinning sideways down the front
It's
stretch, and the whole field went around him. Like, literally impossible to do at Dover. Like,
choreographed 100%. The way he
yeah,
missed the wall by like, I mean, guys, you got to go back and watch this. He missed the wall by well less than a foot. I'm talking inches. The way he was able to, it's just like, and then the whole field, like you said, was just driving around him like perfectly, and it,
and even that
and
first spin, it's like, how do you even just spin like that? It doesn't even make any
yeah, he was
sense.
just, it looked definitely purposeful. And what do you know, when you have such a race with that much amount of manipulation, you get Hamlin winning too. And we talked
Yep.
about Hamlin being that linchpin out there to guide the script forward. I'm not joking,
Yep.
guys. I'm telling you, there's a reason he's in it with Michael Jordan. There's a reason he's doing this off season or mid season and now off season ownership lawsuits and things of that nature. He is the puppet. He is one of their main puppets. He is the veteran puppet that they're using right now to guide the narratives forward. And we've caught him on it multiple times. So I mean, this guy he won more races than anyone this year, this season. So
He's the Aaron Rodgers of NASCAR. That's what he is.
and no, and I'll talk about the omen there for them getting their 201st win during the playoffs. Gibbs
Yeah.
Racing wins on the 201st day of the year. Come on, guys. Come on. It's all there. So, and this was, I want to say there was a narrative for Hamlin to win here because of his win total as well. We were tracking this. Did we call?
Yep.
We called this one?
We had Bell for this one.
Yeah. No, we had Bill. Yeah, absolutely.
There, we were talking about. There's no way you can go against Bell in this one, and I mean, the race was really showing that. Like, however, I mean, just spinning
This
out
was
perfectly
the
twice,
race.
going for the lead in the lead, just unreal.
This was the race that it was like 1-1-1, 2-2-2, 3-3-3. I think this is the race that had all of his date numerology, birth date numerology with the race too. I'm almost positive that this was the one. There was one where it was just like crazy. The numbers were insanity, and I'm not sitting here trying to say the numbers don't mean anything at all. What that signified, why they, I'm sure it wasn't wasted, those numbers. Here's the Bubba
Bubba.
Now, we knew he was going to win one. We didn't call him to win this one, but here we are at another 201 with another Toyota winning. Keep that in mind, guys.
Yep.
All this was to set up what I've kind of dubbed the real championship. If you winning that 200 first race for Toyota was almost like the actual championship of this season, knowing who we're talking about here with the Jesuit order and things of that nature. So, but yeah, we said Bubba's going to win one, and it's not guaranteed that any driver wins a race. If you're an actual fan and you actually prescribe to the odds of a driver winning, it's not guaranteed. So we knew he was getting one of them, and there it is. This honestly might have been a Keselowski race we talked about. He did finish good. I can't remember how this came down.
Leggy was doing good too. She was like leading her second too for a while. She got 17.
I remember talking about how he finished underneath her. Anyway,
yeah.
My boy SVG. We always check on SVG. We got it. Okay, so another brick there. Another brick at the brickyard.
Was our other big Willie B miss.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Guys, I'll be brief because it stings. All these Byron ones sting. Bristol, Tennessee hosted an MLB game with the Braves and the Reds, and it took place on Saturday, August 2nd. Yet there was a rain delay, and guess who was the hosting governor? William Byron Lee. He's there. It's all over his Twitter. He's posting about it. Look at me. I'm at the NASCAR track for MLB Day. And guys, just look it up. I'll bring it up just briefly. Bristol MLB game 2020. Oh, why did it do that?
With the score 2-4, just like William Byron in the 24. And
absolutely. Braves winning 4-2, and they even do that to throw you off too, because obviously the other team would post it 2-4. So, yeah. So this was. Let's see if it says the game is. Okay, well, take my word for it. Go look it up yourself. It got rain delayed, and they picked it up during the NASCAR race. During the NASCAR race, they were finishing this game in Bristol, Tennessee, at Bristol. No, guys, come on. There's nothing in your head can explain to you why that game got delayed in order to have William Byron at a NASCAR track the same time William Byron is racing in Iowa and William Byron wins. Guys, there's no. Okay, so you're just like, oh wow, two things. Okay, yeah, we'll see. Just wait till we get to the end. So another big miss. Oh, was this the Keselowski one we were high on? I can't remember. I just remember calling Keselowski for one and it being so close and us being like, damn, we almost had Keselowski on this one.
Yeah, this was another. But there was a few this year. We had Keselowski as definitely someone to. Yeah,
the numbers were there for Keselowski multiple times. It was interesting, especially knowing what we knew about like Ford and how they.
And this was the race too. Byron won on fuel too. He was able to win on fuel, and all the other races he ran out of fuel or something else happened.
So here's an auto win. we had SVG from a mile away. He destroys, from what I remember. I know he destroyed a couple of the races. Yeah, there might have been a close one here and there, but the ones he won were a lot of them were destruction. Bell right on his ass, but a lot. That's something to think about too. Maybe this is
Yep.
that character. Keep that in mind, guys. We talked about there being this dual like hero anti-hero type thing where they're going to use SVG to be such a specialist that when anyone beats him, that's going to propel that guy forward because he's going to show that he can also take off on a Titan on a road course. And look at Bell. He's right behind him in a lot of these races. So keep that in mind, guys.
And Bell's the only other guy to win on a road course this year besides SVG. And he won the Winston Cup, so he was the most consistent car all year.
And he won the 201st race for Toyota. Repeated during the Masonic Shriners 400, only to win the third leg of a 3 in a row win for Gibbs during the playoffs. I mean, they use this guy to represent like 3 a lot, and 3 equals 56. So we talked about certain things, but of course you got Gibbs, which is all about 33. Joe Gibbs 33, Gibbs 33. Definitely a lot of Masonic numbers there. We're talking about a guy who spent his whole life or his major time of his career coaching football for the Lombardi Trophy. So Freemason. Okay, let's move ahead. Another big win there. The Cookout. This was an interesting one. Interesting. We had Dylan and Cindric in the top 5. I definitely remember talking about that post race. I'm 100% we didn't call this, but
yeah, Dylan won Richmond the year before, and then he won it this year. So
I see.
Yeah, last year they gave him his win, but they didn't allow him in the playoffs because of how he won when he wrecked Logano and Hamlin, and then he actually wins this one. So
that's right. Consolation prize. They are handing them out like candy this year. But yeah, good call. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I'm not gonna unfortunately remember all these little tidbits, so that's why it's great you have such a mind for this. Second Daytona.
Blaney won there at the very end. There was I know Eric Jones was doing really good. He almost won. Same thing with Logano. Logano got spun there, and Jones came back up to 5th, and Logano almost had a shot to win. Blaney literally wins there at the last little bit. He takes the lead and wins it.
Okay, this might have been. No, I want to. We were definitely on the whole dark horse narrative sooner than this, but this started to spice things up because Blaney was already doing well with points up until this win, and so yeah, we definitely were talking about it. I definitely didn't call it, so. But yeah, you're right about the race, but I don't remember what we had for Daytona, unfortunately. Like I said, we didn't call every single race either, so that makes it tough. Next year we'll call every race. I think that'll be something we have to do. Darlington. This was Briscoe's entrance in. Get another chase for the cup. Certainly didn't call it. This might have been a Reddit call. No. Were we thinking Hamlin again here? I can't remember. It's tough.
Jones was right there too. Jones was he had a lot of momentum this time. Almost won Daytona, almost won there. So this is when Jones was really kicking hard.
Yeah, I just can't remember who we soft called or called for these races. A lot of these races, because I'm not even sure if we did. I do want to say there was something to do with the cookout. Like we looked up the numbers to do with the cookout, and there was something, but there's something like that with all of them. So I unfortunately I just don't remember. Well, I wanted to say something about Darlington. I can't remember who won it before this race.
Hamlin won the one before. That was when
Okay, that's
William
why I
Byron
think we were talking
dominated.
about. Okay, I
Yeah,
think that's why
Byron
we're talking about.
dominated, almost led all the laps.
Gotcha. Illinois. Oh, here we go. Hamlin. I don't know if we had this one. We were pretty good about tracking his win record, his total wins. And what's funny is we were talking about him getting his 60th. That's so crazy, dude, how it happens too. But I mean, we were talking about him getting his 60th win. I can't remember what we were basing it off of exactly, unfortunately. But I know you for certainly brought this up about him getting his 60th win this season, and this was way back in, maybe after his first or second win, and he just kept winning. And what do you know? He got his 60th win, guys. So that's another little call that we had, a little mini call for Hamlin this year. And obviously they did him dirty. But I can't say that we called this one. We could have. I don't remember. It would be in the description of our videos, but I just simply don't remember. There was definitely something to do. Okay, this is man. Keselowski had a lot of good finishes. Honestly, poor guy. There was definitely. Where did Briscoe finish this race? 9th. There's definitely things to do with Bass Pro Shops. I remember. I don't know if there was something Memphis related in the news during this week or not. Unfortunately, I just. Do you remember this one? Second Bristol.
Keselowski almost got another win.
Yeah, I wish I had a more detailed.
Ford did good. Ford did really good in this one. They have 3 in the top 5.
Oh
Logano,
no!
Blaney.
Yeah. We talked about that. This is one of Ford's best races thus far, other than winning it.
201st win for Bell. I thought there was something that week. Something happened that week that went along with that. I remember saying that in that episode. Can't remember what it was.
It's definitely worth going. I'm gonna have to do some homework and go back and.
Maybe it was Bristol, Tennessee, because it equals 201, and that was the 201st win for. I think that might have been what it was, or it could have been. There could have been something else too.
Well, 201. And see, I don't remember if we ever called a Blaney win. Did we ever call a Blaney win necessarily?
The last 2 races of the year, we were like.
Yeah. So we called one. Yeah, we did call the last race of him with him winning, which is kind of a consolation prize for us, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't remember ever calling like a regular season win. He was strong in our narrative, but we didn't know when he was winning. I don't remember knowing when he was winning. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think we called this one either.
Barry had a
really good one for Ford. It's the one they were really building momentum.
On to the next. This is Elliott's second win.
This was the heavy manipulation there at the end for his win when Hamlin, everyone is hitting the wall, everyone is wrecking each other, going in the wall, knocking everybody up out of the way. Briscoe just put himself in the wall purposely. Bell and whoever went and got put in the wall, and then like Hamlin and Bubba went in the wall, and it was just like 2 people taking each other out. Briscoe put himself in the wall, just clearing the way for Chase Elliott to win.
That's right. I remember all this. Yeah, I remember that now. We watched the highlights, I believe, on this one.
Heavy manipulation there at the end.
Oh, okay. Right. Was this the last race? No.
The bank. This was the last one, and then it was the final 8 after that. Then they were down to 8.
Right. Okay, so was this the one where Hamlin crashed into Bubba? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then
Because they
Bell and
were leading 1-2. It was Hamlin and Bubba who were on the same. Well, they're
I
not
think it
on the
was
same
Bell
team.
first. Someone hit Bell and put Bell in the wall, and then he went backwards after, and then he fell back, and then Hamlin then put Bubba in the wall,
Yeah,
and then Briscoe went in the wall in between them. So it was someone put
right.
Bell in the wall, and then Briscoe just put himself in the wall, and then Hamlin put Bubba in the wall.
Yeah, and Bubba was. I can't fucking talk to this guy.
Yeah.
So he's like, and then Hamlin was like, "I'm not apologizing for shit." So it's just like drama, and then like Joe Gibbs was all like, he made a mention too because there's a lot of drama at this point in time because Ty Gibbs and Denny Hamlin had a falling out too, and he was all
Yep.
like, he's like, "I'm not getting involved. He's my driver. I'm I put I trust they'll be fine. I'm not getting involved in this." That's what he said. And then meanwhile, you had the 23XI drama with Hamlin and Wallace. That was just funny. I can't fucking talk to this guy. I think we watched the interview, did we? Or maybe did we? Because we talked about how goofy he looks and how he's so hard to like listen to him talk. Bubba Wallace, that is, because he was just like he's just looking over everywhere like there's people up in the
Yeah.
stand, and he's just like talking about it. He's just like, we put a good team out there. We did really well with our pits and we did really good. It's just at the end there, it's just cut me in, cut my back end, and at the end of the day, I just can't fucking talk to the guy. It's just like, bro, who are you talking to? They're right in front of you with a microphone. Just stand still. But anyway, it was funny. So did not call that one. We called this one weeks in advance. I mean, guys, if you wanted to put this one in however long ago, this was a guarantee from us, and we did not waver at all. And this was, I mean, SVG was definitely the majority of our wins this season. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
why it's so funny is because there's no one that was saying, "Oh yeah, SVG is going to win 5 races this year." There's just no way. There's no way. Not the way it started either. So for him to just go on an absolute tear, and I'm still really proud that we were able to catch that, and every single one taken right to the bank. I think this was an absolute blowout if I remember right. Larson was there at the end, but even with him
Bell was
being
there too.
there,
Yeah.
yeah,
Bell
funny
was
that
there
Bell's
and
right
Larson.
there
Yeah.
too. But like Larson was close to him, but if you guys watch the replay, there was no one that close, and they were even saying at the end he was toying with them to keep it close to make it look good, which is funny because it's like, is that some soft disclosure that he was literally like sandbagging to make it look closer, to make it more dramatic? So keep that in mind. So we had that one dead called. Here we go with the three-peat. This is the second round. Yeah, this was the last 3 races of the second round, I believe, was the three-peat. I might have that wrong. Whatever. It doesn't matter. This is the first of 3 wins straight for Gibbs, on course to the 201st Toyota win, and we were on that, and we had great comments about it too. That kind of clued us into some other things about this. The 201st Toyota win and things like that. But you had Hamlin win it. Once again, I don't think we called Hamlin winning it. I actually think we had Blaney winning this one from my memory. Maybe Logano. We were talking about something to do
I
with
think we had
that.
Logano.
Yeah, I think we had Logano too. We had a Ford, I'm pretty sure, winning this. So then we had the second leg won by Briscoe, which
This was one too where we thought Talladega looked like it was easily going for Blaney and Logano there towards the. I mean, it just everything was exactly how he called it, and then again these are split races how they turn out, and then literally just the way this race was just weird too. Everything started happening there at the end, just like how disappointing it was. It's like we're like Briscoe, gonna give it to Briscoe, huh?
yeah, there was
I
definitely,
thought like Ty Gibbs, this could have been his first win, really. I mean,
and yeah,
got that stage win too.
that would have maintained the Gibbs 201st coming up too. So yeah, there was definitely a couple of different things on the table there, but you could tell that they wanted playoff drivers winning it because this has to do with building up SVG's character. It's funny to think, guys, that this playoff race. By the way, we talked about the ins and outs of the rules going into next year too. By the way, you know what they did at the end of the season? The last race of the season, they asked every driver the same question if they agree with the cup format moving forward. Have you seen that? They all got everybody got asked that question, and most of them were saying, "Yeah, it is what it is. I like it." Or
I seen the post race where Larson said they flipped the script. I heard him say that in the thing. He's like they flipped the script.
I've heard a bunch of funny stuff. I actually heard a a pit crew manager say, "What do you remember me telling you about that?" The pit crew manager, I think it was for Larson. I think it was Hendrick's pit crew manager. He said, "Oh, he was talking about how something to do with like the manipulation of the race."
Yeah, the race
Says as long
manipulation.
as there's manipulation in the race, blah blah blah. I can't remember the exact quote, so I won't try to exact quote it. But he was talking about race manipulation. So he was like saying, as long as there's manipulation in these races, it's not, it's not going to be straightforward, something like that. So it's like, okay, what are you talking about, dude? Not that we don't know, but I'm just saying. And then here it is,
Error not loading. Error not loading.
dude. Does not compute. Does not compute. Uh, guys, if you don't know the inside joke here, Mister. Uh, wait, who'd we have one in this one?
We were picking Blaney because we thought
Yeah,
Blaney
right.
or Logano to get in
Oh,
the
duh,
final four
duh.
for to be the Ford four P.
So yeah, just absolutely. I say devastating, but it's not. It's not devastating. But to our narrative, it was devastating. I'll say that. But yeah, we had this thing that week after week, our narrative formed into the perfect form of our narrative because a few weeks before the playoff, or like going into the playoffs, we were sitting there saying like our narrative is sick. Like Blaney's sitting pretty, but that's not what we talked about. Our narrative is about the dark horse, about the guy coming out of nowhere and winning. And it's not really what's going on. He's second. This isn't out of nowhere. He's like favorite to win. So of course, if you guys followed as the playoffs went on, he became further and further away from being the winning driver. And we're sitting there saying, okay, wait, this adversity is exactly what we needed. And if he were to win the last two, he would take the cup championship, and he would represent that dark horse, like the Mustangs they drive and all the Ford Pete and all the stuff that we had for it. And if you guys watch this stupid fucking race, you guys know that less than 5 laps to go, he is sitting pretty, but technical error, his back end is like he likes to say. I'm like, bro, yeah, you got something happened to your back end to blow this race. But he's just like, I just lost my back end, and Byron was able to take it there. He just had the stronger tires at the end, and blah blah blah. He has blah right in his name. Blah blah Blaney.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely bullshit because so yeah, guys, this is the third piece of the puzzle, and just hands down proof that the manipulation. Uh, but yeah, this is something we missed until the day of the race, and fuck, Sorry, excuse my language, but it hurt us big time because we would have been able to sit on this and know exactly what was going to happen and at least lick our wounds and get the call right. We would have said, damn, our narrative didn't pay off because look at this. There's no way he's going to lose. And there was absolutely no way he was going to lose. We're talking about William Byron, that is, on National Tennessee Day. And what do you know? You take our narrative that we've been talking about for months and you boil it down to the race he needs to win, and he's winning the race all the way to the end.
Led the second most laps. He started all the way in the back, drove all the way to the front. Byron dominated the beginning. He won both stages, but Blaney got up there. He had the lead. He was holding steady. It was all there. I mean, it couldn't be more clear.
But then he got the earpiece, was just like, all right, go wide and let Byron right on through. Yes, sir. Absolutely, Mr. Gordon.
It's Tennessee Day.
And yep, Tennessee Day prevails over any narrative we had but yeah, once again, we kicked ourselves hard for this one. This is our biggest miss of the season by far. Only second biggest miss being the MLB NASCAR Classic, whatever. So both big misses this year had to do with William Byron, and this is after discovering the William Byron connection. So something to move into next season, knowing and never messing up again. And then, of course, if you guys, let's just talk about the last one. Yeah, Mr. 201, bring it home. No surprise. This was our second pick. So once again, we didn't even celebrate. We didn't even celebrate calling Larson because Larson, by the way, Larson won the cup, but
Blaney wins the race.
Blaney wins the race. So we called Blaney to win the last two races months ago. Like, guys, over a month ago, before it happened, we're noticing this exact narrative being able to play out and what would need to happen. And we make these calls verbatim, what's going to happen, except we don't know it's National Tennessee Day on October 26th. And we come about 5 laps from having our months-long narrative play out to an actual T. Guys, to a T, the T in Tennessee. It's crazy. We were talking about it leading up to it. We're just like, God, this is crazy. This is crazy how this could even be playing out this way. And yet it looked so good and so compelling, and probably more compelling than what they went with. Like, honestly, a more compelling storyline to write about, but you got 201 in your name and you sacrificed your manager. It's clear cut. We had a comment that wanted to, he said, let's keep it simple. And he was right. I think we did get caught chasing a little bit. Not going to lie. We did get caught chasing something that, hopefully next year we don't get so wide eyed about it. One particular thing. Of course, we covered a lot of different things, guys, this season. So don't get it twisted. We kept our options open for sure. But Larson was almost a dead giveaway after the mishap with Blaney, and he comes through to win, even Blaney wins the race like we called. So I guess I can at least lick my wounds a little bit and put another win.
Yeah, you look at that last few laps. Blaney wasn't anywhere close to be winning this one in the last one. Then it was Hamlin and Byron, and then that happens. That Byron puts himself on the wall, sacrifices himself for his teammate Larson to get it, and Blaney starts a couple rows back and then is able to take the lead there at that last little bit. But him and Byron had the two best long run cars. I mean, they were like Blaney was up there leading a little bit. Byron was up there. Byron, won the first stage, and they're up there. They had the best long run cars, and Blaney was in the further back than when that was cycling out the end, and then that pit stop happened, put him right there, and Lily just takes the lead. I mean, I thought Keselowski might have won there. It was gonna be Priest that could have won, with them both being right there, and then just Blaney gets it there at that last little bit, just leads like a quarter of a lap and wins it there that last. And even Logano was right there too. Logano was fourth, but Logano looked like if there was another turn or half a mile to go, I think Logano probably would have won the race. So I mean, really either Ford and Logano and Blaney there at the very end was both right there. I mean, you give it another half a lap, it looked like it was probably going to be Logano that was going to win. So I mean, literally called everything to an absolute T. I mean, and even that just like the way like Martinsville shaped up there. I mean, Logano was hanging around there too all race. He was right there, and I'm just like, man, I don't, it just everything we said. I mean, you go back, you watch these races. I mean, everything we literally were saying. You watch Talladega, how that played out. Literally everything we said. There's Logano, there's Blaney, like leading it with just 20 to go, like 10 to go. They're right there, and it's just like that thought was that like this whole end of the season too, like the way we were calling the races, what was going to happen, how it was going to unfold. I mean, literally perfectly. But then you got, of course, like how Byron's got to run into someone or run out of gas or go spinning off, or Logano and Blaney have to purposely fall back or something. Just the race manipulation's got to kick in. But if it wasn't for the race manipulation kicking in, we'd be calling this. I mean, we call this to 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's down to the races too. Like inside of the races, outside of just the finish, you had Blaney looking lost at the end when he needs to win. It came down to that second to last race of the year. And because he DNF'd in the last round of the playoffs, he crashed or his car broke down or whatever. Like it was bad. Like he looked, nobody was talking about Blaney. Like it was like that's what's so crazy is like we like at the worst he got, the more we were like, oh, it's gonna happen, and it all like it's like man. So yeah, I mean, we could just have another stream where we talk about this because it hurts. And it's just, I want people to understand how close it is. And it's like, if you've been following us and with us on this, what we've been talking about for the last 2 months of the season. And it almost played out to perfection. So hopefully at least you'll give us recognition where that is, and realized we were on to something, that's for sure. And we were on to individual things this year, but just maybe not the grand scheme. And like that guy said, 100% keep it simple. There was good numbers for Larson, and we talked about it too. We did talk about Hendrick and Gordon and all the things that are lining up for Gordon and his turning 55 and things of that nature. And Larson as well, obviously being Mr. 201, and that is what ended up playing out. And he's sacrificing his publicist or manager or whatever. So that is the thing that prevailed. And I think if we did keep it simple, we wouldn't have been, I wouldn't say we 100% tunnel vision. We did keep some options open, but that narrative just get better and better and better. It's just like, man, who are they throwing that narrative out to? Just us? Who else was calling this months ago the way exactly it's going to happen? It felt like it was just catering to us. And then for it to not happen just took the wind out of the sails. But either way, we hope you
Yeah, and
enjoy
you look
that
at it
little.
too. I mean, like Bell, Bell winning the Winston Cup. I know Briscoe, he actually did get second. Larson was third. So I mean, you look at it too, just like it was really, this whole year was really just about 201. I mean, it was just 201s here and there. I mean, there was other things coming up here and there too, but really, 201 was huge this year. And like I said, it's just so weird how this year, like, I mean, it was weird 2 years ago when you had, Blaney win it. He didn't win that last race of the year, but, he was still competitive in that. He still was leading laps, and, he did finish second. He was the only guy that, had not won that last, won the last race to win the championship. That was the only time it happened. And then this year, Larson, doesn't even lead a lap, doesn't even win a race at all in the playoffs, doesn't win a race at all, doesn't lead a lap at, Phoenix at all. Was not in contention to win it at all. And it literally was out of the race at like multiple times, like, especially towards the end. Like, I thought he was out of it there with, 90, 80, 70 to go. I counted him pretty much out. And then just the way they set that all up at the end. I mean, even with 2-3 laps to go, you wouldn't have picked Larson at all. It was between Hamlin and Byron. It looked like Hamlin had it. And then
Yeah,
with Byron sacrificed himself for his teammate there, putting himself on the wall, and then the pit stops and just ridiculousness, and then all the other things we talked about. Can Priest or Keselowski get a win? That was right there. Ford winning, that was right there. Logano was there. Blaney was there. I mean, it was all there. I mean, literally everything you could have said to be right there was right there with like 2 laps to go. How they put that together. I mean, like we said all year, is Keselowski going to win? And we talked about Keselowski was right there, had a shot. Literally, just needed 100 more yards. He would have won. Priest was right there. I was wondering, is they going to give him it? He's been kind of there this year at times at 60 cars and give it to him. He was right there, like second with 2 to go. So I mean, just otherworldly how that shaped up. I mean, literally everything we said and talked about, and then just yeah, and like I said, the way Larson won it, just how it happened. I mean, there's never been a playoffs like this. A guy that like I said, Blaney got second, but Larson third. And then Larson not even leading a lap, so it's just very strange how that all shook up. I mean, you got to think these guys watch our channel.
We've said that multiple times. I don't know if we said it on the channel, but in talking, we're just like, yeah, yo, what? How could this possibly be playing out the exact way are we the script writers? Are they lazy and they just get the script from people covering NASCAR? But I mean, there's also a joke that we've made. We made this joke about the first win Larson got, out of nowhere, about his name sounding like larceny, like theft. And you could easily say that this last race was a grand larceny against Hamlin. So
Yeah.
that ended up kind of playing out, which I thought was a little bit funny. And once again, you have that linchpin ushering in the 201 guy to win the race in Denny Hamlin. I mean, so Denny Hamlin being the linchpin ushering in Larson. So guys, you guys can throw the teams out the window, guys. These guys are racing in unison. They are practicing these races. They know what to do. They're choreographing things. You guys need to throw out these idea of teammates. They're getting calls from above their garages. Okay. There's a more important theme they have to carry out than what they let you hear on the microphone, on the mic'd up moments. So keep that in mind. By the way, I don't know if this is just like on theme or they just want to keep NASCAR somewhat more of a adult sport. I don't know, but man, they cuss a lot. They cuss more than any other sport, like in their interviews and just blatantly like cussing all the time. I just
Yeah.
throwing that out there. Just it's interesting. So yeah, interested where you guys are at on this. By the way, I ran the numbers. We called 28% of the races. First season call in NASCAR, we called over a quarter of the races. 10 out of 36. So not bad. Double digit wins. I'm talking about calling the winner of the race. The winner of the race. I mean, I don't know. That's something to like look into. What are people who like make people pay for this information or for information like sports bookies betting stuff where they talk about like, oh, the garage, oh man, this garage is missing their ace uh impact wrench mechanic. It's not looking good for them. Their tires are going to be put on at 0.3 seconds later each tire. They're talking about that crap. Meanwhile, we're like, the guy's name equals 201. You fucking idiot. What are you talking about? Tires? What are you talking about? Anyway, yeah, guys, let us know what was your favorite parts of the season or any calls that you saw outside of ours that kind of led to this. I know we've gotten some great comments the last few weeks and beyond that have kind of opened our eyes to some off the track type of information as well as like years past information in the comments. Really good stuff. But as far as this season goes, since this is just kind of a recap, let's what was some of the narratives maybe you spotted that we didn't see or we don't know of? Or what was your favorite of the ones we've caught if you were here with us? Still mine are probably the that's got it. I mean the SVG ones were the funnest because we got to gloat so many times off the back of that dude. But I do think the more interesting ones were the Byron things we were able to spot. Unfortunately, even with the sourness. Well, we did go a little long on that, but that's okay. I mean, it's the end of the last time, pretty much the last time we talked about NASCAR for a while. So, and it's worth going over these because it's
Oh
something we
yeah.
kind of wanted to do to kind of let you guys know where we stood too. Because there's a lot of people who either didn't watch from the moment we started covering NASCAR, or whatever. But yeah, I don't want to. It to just be like us talking. We called a certain amount of races. Oh man, well now we just went through each and every one and went over them so you could see for yourself. But yeah, very successful, very fun. I'm glad I got to do that with you. Looking forward to next season. Very surprising that I would actually like something like NASCAR. Not that I like it as the sport necessarily, but I do have a soft spot in it just because of the fun we were able to have this season.
Yeah, the year of the 201s.
We'll
It seems like yesterday I was just texting you, telling you about the Sabu death 201, and go figure that was Larson's last win. Go figure he win the championship, and that was the last win to get it in with that extra 201 ritual, and then the synced up with Sabu and dominating that race, and then the other race, the Bristol, Bristol, Tennessee, with the 201, and then the guy dying on the April 1202nd day of the year, the reflection of 201. So yeah, it was the year of 201s. I mean, there's just nothing else you can say about it, and got to wonder what it all means moving forwards with the never-ending 201. It's like an event 201, really.
There might have been a joke too. Am I tripping, or isn't John Edwards, was he the guy who? Yes, it was. Do you remember this? The guy who would remember that back in the day there was like two shows where people pretended to be able to, they would have a crowd. It was like a talk show type setting, but they would pick people out in the crowd and say that they can talk to their loved ones. And just be like, yes, yes, yes. There's a Jesse. There's a Jesse. Does anyone know a Jesse? And be like,
Oh
I
yeah,
know a Jesse. Yeah.
and
So his name was
56 too. Just turned 56.
Interesting. Oh, good call. Interesting. Look out for this guy in the news. In the upcoming. That's very fun. Interesting. Because obviously his name is very similar to John Edwards, the manager of Larson. And if you think about it, John Edwards talking to the dead, and his manager dies. So it's something to think. I thought about that back in the day. I just never really talked about it. Anyway, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the little breakdown. For those of you that hadn't been with us or weren't clear on it, hopefully at least it was bearable. But yeah, moving on to our greater topic here for a little bit before we close it out. Austin brings up a great point to me that I did not know about. That if you Google or you search on YouTube the great word suicide, make suicide great again. No, that's the word, guys. I just mean the word. Yeah, it just, before you even get like the meaning of it or whatever, you get a big warning, basically. And here's the YouTube one. You're not alone. First of all, that just sounds like a threat, bro. All right. Okay. Say you have like schizophrenic, issues and you're thinking about killing yourself. So you go to YouTube to find help and it just says you're not alone. Get out of my head. All right. All jokes aside. Sorry, guys. Let's lighten it up. It's over. But what I do find funny is both of these funnily enough, they do have an interesting, like, when I when you kind of basically when you put the they live glasses on, you know, you see things for what they are, and you see like the ulterior motives and meanings behind things. Now, look at this, guys. We've talked about this on the channel. In fact, you know, moving forward, we're going to talk about things like this again. I'm sure we talked about stupid Nat uh, picking this topic itself up again for a longer form discussion, and but we'll cover that at the end. But interestingly enough, you know, when I see help is available, you look up suicide and it says help is available. Speak with someone today. Like that sounds like they're selling killing like suicide. What do you think?
100%. That's it. I just found this out this week. I didn't even know about this. I put something suicide in YouTube or something, and then that popped up. The screen just it went black, and then nothing came up. I'm like, what did I lose service? What the hell is this? And it's just like, and it comes up with that. It's just you're not alone. It comes up with the suicide hotline number, and just call it, and it's just like what? When did this start? When did this pop up? And I know someone else in the community too had posted about it as well. That I think the day after I found a day or two after I found it, they said something about they made a post about it that uh, this was popping up. So yeah, I mean, and then it's like I said, it does it on Google too, but it's really you just and like I said, I don't know exactly what date or when this exactly happened or when it changed or whatever, but um really it's just I mean it's just it's desensitizing for the times. I mean it's just um it's right on par with everything else that's going on. And uh it's just and you look at everything going on too. It's just like this is it's like you were saying, it's like selling death. We talked about the death pods and the depopulation, the Georgia Guidestones, the 500 billion people that'll be left and supposedly. And that's what I was talking about before. And I was just saying, people there's going to be a lot of people in the next 5 years that don't make it, but it won't be for the reasons you think. It's not all just about money and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that's part of it, but it's about weeding people out, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. I mean, you look at all different ways they're getting rid of people. Like I said, that the suicide pods and people just self and inflicted suicide stuff. And like this is, to me, it's just like them like advertising for it. And it's just like you look at everything else going on too. I mean, it's like besides it being 9/11, 11/9, you got the longest government shutdown. You got all the stuff going on right now. And um you just look at the next it's like the next 5 years, and Agenda 2030 playing out. And all these depopulation tactics that they're pulling out, and you got to look at it too. I mean, this lockdown, shutdown, whatever you want to call it, is this the precursor to the dark winter? I mean, it very well could be. I know I've been mentioning too. I mean, lately I've been pulling like all my money out of the bank, so just making sure I got cash on hand. I'm getting stuff ready, prepared, just in case they do go uh through it this year. I mean, and they very well might. I mean, you never know if this is going to be the dark winter they always talk about. If this is the year they're, you know, gonna finally pull the plug or whatever. And I've talked about all the stuff too with like money and stuff and going into 2026 and the meaning behind that as well. Because I do think there's a lot there with that, and there's a lot that's going to happen, and the pace they're working at. I mean, you looked at the first, the Trump administration. That was 2017. Right away. I mean, it was the online censorship and YouTube, and attack there and shut everybody down there, and screw over the online communities and stuff, and getting information out, and take that away. And then it just kind of got worse. 2018, 2019, it just the longer it went, it just slowly but surely got worse. But it was all leading up to, of course, 2020. And now we're just 2025. And like I said, I really don't even see like Biden was really ever like the president. It was really just Trump the whole time since 2017. It's all you heard about was Trump when Biden was president. And you hear about Biden now. It's Trump's back in, 2025. You look at how bad of a start we're already off to. I mean, really breaking records, and it's just one thing after another, whether it's, SNAP benefits or jobs or the economy or, anything. It's just everything's at an all-time, it's at an all-time low. And, and like I said, it's, you got a lot of people that, whether it's, you got people on, every level. I mean, you got people losing. It's not just people struggling with, financially, they're struggling, mentally, they're struggling with their health. They're struggling finding jobs, or just struggling on every level that you could be struggling. And it's just like, there's no way that, things are going to get better and they're going to turn around. And it's just like, you got to look at it too. It's just like, a lot of people, they want to, they're going to want to die on their knees. A lot of people want to die on their knees. You want to die. You want to die on your feet. You want to know where you stand, where you draw the line. You got to, where you draw the line with things. And then you have, with the things that are coming. I know, even where I was living, back in Wyoming and Cheyenne, I know they're putting like an AI data center there. They're putting them like all kind of places. That's going to totally screw people over the next 5 years. And a lot of people are going to lose their life and their land, their jobs, their homes, and they're going to have to either relocate, or they're just not even going to make it because of that. And that's just one thing. And, some areas that might get pushed back, but it's not going to get pushed back everywhere. It's going to be areas where, those things just going to go through anyways. And, I've said this too, like I said just a couple weeks ago too, it's, all these people that got this attitude, this is just life. And, life's just about making money and paying bills and paying taxes and vote for their man to rule over you. And it's just like, as long as people have this attitude, nothing's ever going to change. Nothing's ever going to happen and change if this is what all people think life is. So this is the problem. And people, society's just become too complex. It should be such, we've gotten away from just, simplicity and spirituality, and just, being one with self, being one with nature, and being one with land, and, just, food, water, shelter, and, the importance of peace. That's what it's really all about. That's what all this is about. It's about, disrupting your peace. It's not even about money. It's about peace. You're all stressed about money. It's really your peace they're after. They're after your peace. And, it's, and then too, that's a lot of times too, like, that's why, like, even when I'm sleeping, my dreams a lot of times are better when I'm sleeping. My dreams are better than, life and reality. It's better to be sleeping and dreaming. And, cause you got to live this nightmare of a life. And, that's why it's important to have, like I said, spirituality, and, your connection with God, and, whatever you think or believe God or gods or creator, creation, whatever you think it is, whatever this is, it's why you have to have that, that mentality, and that, foot in the door. Cause, without that, I mean, you get caught up in, everyone thinking this is life. And it's like, no, this ain't even life. What we're living, what we're doing, it's all an illusion. It's like I said, why attitude is everything. And, peace is so important. You got to have your peace. And, yeah, I just, and like I said, with this, the suicide thing, finding this out this week, it's just like another precursor. I mean, everything we're seeing is just, right on schedule. I mean, they're just, everything's happening just so fast. I mean, it's hard to say where we're going to be in another, and like I've said too, in the last couple episodes too, April 2026, in gematria does equal 322. So there could be something coming around that time. I would not be surprised at all. What if 2026 turns out to be a really bad, ugly year? I mean, we still have a little bit left of 2025, at least the calendar year, but the real year starts in April. So, and again, they could get this dark winter going. They could, do something here very soon, and you're seeing these weird signs, just, just weird stuff with, just typing stuff in, just getting weird, who knows what else. And I've just, all these little things they keep changing, they keep doing. And, none of it's coincidence. None of it is, none of it is a coincidence. And if people got to know, like I said, people think it's all about, I just got to make more money. I just got to keep, sooner or later, it's not even going to matter. It's not going to matter how much money you got. It's not going to matter how wealthy you are. Because this is about, total control and total, you know, surveillance over you. Like with, just like they say, everyone's going to have cameras on at all time. The people are going to be, we're going to be watched, going to be recorded. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. AI this, AI that, AI data centers, and digital ID, digital passports. Like what do you think all this is? And a lot of this stuff is like a year or two away. So we're definitely on the cusp of it. We're on the cusp of something major. But like I said, whenever I have questions, or like whenever I you know have to look to something, I always look to nature. I look to nature and I just see, the simplicity of life, what life's supposed to be. And once you see that, you look to nature, you see the simplicity of life. You live by the food, water, shelter. You have that spiritual, uh, where you see how easy, simple life is, and then the way we're supposed to be living, and then you look at what we are living in. You see this isn't life, and then you see the agenda before your eyes, and it's just like a lot of people, they don't remember the Georgia Guidestones anymore. Those have been down for a long time. So yeah, we're getting deep into this agenda. It's not about people getting left behind. It's about people getting weeded out.
Very good point. And, this kind of brings back a topic we brought up very early in the channel about how they phase out old technology. I think this is when we were talking about maybe the infrastructure collapsing, during like the bridge collapses and all those things and all the planes crashing. Definitely the planes crashing, but, which just has not stopped all year. But, and then, you even pair that up with the government shutdown. If the people aren't talking about the government shutdown because of food stamps, and they're talking about it because of the airports, because ever since it's happened, there's been mass flight delays, as well as now, most recently, airports literally shut down for days. They're just like, oh, nope, no flights. We're going to take a day off for all our workers that are working because they're all working for back pay. They're not going to get paid until the government reopens, and then they're going to get a lump sum, but they haven't been working for anything. If they've chosen to work, it's basically been volunteering, and in hopes that they get their check when the government reopens. And so because it's been a skeleton crew, so they say, they take days off, which, airports really, the demand, goes right along with what we're talking about. Food stamps, the demand for food stamps, way too high. The demand on people to get from point A to point B across great distances is way too high. Like, we rely on something that shouldn't be this necessary. Like you said, shelter, food, water. You even include family, because, like, the mental aspect of it too, and depending on how that goes, that can also provide a closeness to creator and things of that nature, especially if you're the one creating with kids and things of that nature. You'll know one day, Austin, hopefully soon. But what's really happening is they're using this. Who doesn't need to be shut down? um TSA bot, and Alaska Airlines bot, and pilot bot. And by the way, I just want to highlight, for anyone that has seen the satire movie Airplane from back in the day, they taught. Oh my gosh, it's so funny, the predictive programming. But in that movie, you had blow up airplane pilots, because both pilots go down with like a sickness, and so they have like it's like almost you pull the pin on a parachute, or like one of the, like, say, if you go overboard of a ship, you can like pull the pin and it blows up with air really quickly. Well, they're just like pilots that hold the steering wheel, but they're like blow up dolls, but they're like alive. But this was way back in, Airplane. When that come out? Sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent. I just thought about this. Oops. Great movie, by the way. And don't call me. Oh, look, here we go. It shows him right here. Can you see him? Right here. The blow up pilot. So I have to go. So, and then there's another one they blow up that's like a woman and they like get it on. Anyway, so I know it seems a little tongue in cheek and funny, but it does highlight that when humans fail, this an inhuman thing wouldn't. And this is pushing this. We talked about we brought this back to, Zeppelins and things of that nature, and how this country's infrastructure is trash compared to other. We were talking about China and Japan on an episode about their dams and things of that nature. The Great Wall episode we did, we talked about China's insane technology, whereas you just look over, we consider them, like the feudal age, and then you go and look at their stuff and it's just like, bro, what? It's all so clean and just perfect. And I mean, if you think of that as being clean and perfect, I mean, like technologically clean and perfect. But, I nowadays I look at nature and think it's clean and perfect. But anyway, what this is, AI is going to be replacing everything. Why do you need a desk clerk? Why do you need, if everything is dispensed through a bulletproof glass facade, you could just have you just walk up, pay, just like look at Japan. The model's been there, guys. The model has been there. Japan is completely self-sufficient with almost nobody works for in the retail sector. It's AI. It's dispensers, it's robots and things that you buy things from and you get things from. People go to the store, they never talk to a single person. People go and live there months without ever having to talk to another person. you know so it's all there. When you look at what they're doing right now with airports and the government jobs, it's highlighting that they're not necessary as well. But at the same time, it's like, look at how screwed up things are when we rely on a bunch of people to get this industry working. And they're going to highlight these moments as to why they should just use AI for most things. And trust me when I say this will not be not incentivized. They will say, look, America, we know we're not just going to lay all you guys off and leave you guys hanging. We're going to give you the fake money. You're going to have 3 months free of your Meta subscription and a free pair of the Ray-Ban Meta goggles in order to get started in your new life on Meta Life Simulator. And you can earn currency there to work towards, getting your water paid. And it's going to be so stupid, but it's going to work. Look at coronavirus. Nobody even questioned the checks. I think I didn't say this last week, but because one of you guys was either talking. I do that all the time. I try to write things down as I think about them, but I kept a certain amount of money in my bank all throughout coronavirus. Technically, it's still there. Like they put that money in my bank. I didn't say okay to anything. They just put it in my bank. So it's not like I ever okayed anything and I did not spend it. I always made sure I had more than what they gave me because I didn't like that it was given to me. I worked throughout the entire thing. I didn't stay at home. I was still working. So yeah, and I was very leery to spend any money from that time. But you look at everybody else; they were more than happy to pick up the government scraps that they gave out, and that's what this episode. That's what we're here to talk about: is the dependency we have on government is just so damn high. And you look at all these people that are potentially suffering because of the EBT, and it's like sad when it's the people that truly are suffering. Everybody, it's not like we're heartless. I'm not heartless. It's just so sad that that's not at all the majority. The majority are people that have been taken advantage. And it's one thing to say, I'm getting mine from the government that literally is sapping us dry of our actual essence of life. Never mind the fake money like like we talk about, but the things that go with it, our effort, our drive, our love, compassion, all these things, they're wearing thin in the system that we're forced to be in. And unfortunately, people's morals and sense of responsibility has waned with it, and they end up in terrible spots where something like this happens. And just like the name, you know, just like the name is, snap, and it's gone. And, you don't have any control over it. Um, so, this is just something that uh, you would hope it'd be a wake up call, and maybe it is for a lot of people. But what is televised is never going to be the revolution. Uh, so what you see is a bunch of entitled people complaining and begging and saying that they need it, and say, all well, posting these things for, it says at the bottom from iPhone 17. Yeah, it's like, what? I need my food stamps from iPhone 17. It's like, bro, just sell that thing and you're good for a few months. If you were really starving, which why are you starving? You don't have any non-perishables? You didn't stock up on it. What is it, all corn dogs in the freezer? What are you doing? It's not anyone else's fault that you bought junk. It's in fact, you're the reason why the junk is there. The consumer is the reason the junk is there. And I know it's a chicken or the egg type of argument. And I would love to be on the side of humanity on this. I would. I wish I could be. I've known way too many people. In fact, I've been one of them. I have been one of the consumers that was more than willing to get mostly bad food with the food that I was given with food stamps after my firstborn son. We were given an exorbitant amount of money. I lived in a $300 apartment. I was a store manager at a Dairy Queen. I was making bank for 300. It was so nice working there because it was like basically after like 3 days, I was like, all right, rent's paid. Next day, I'm like, okay, all my bills are paid. All right, a week and a half of all profit. And then I'd go home and have $600 a month in food stamps. They gave us $600 a month because I was living in, I wasn't always making this money. When we moved into this apartment, I didn't even have a job. We were living literally with no money. We got the assistant. So it sucks looking back to see that I'd taken advantage of the system. I needed it at first, and then I was so quick to take advantage of it when it was right there. I didn't think in my head I'm taking advantage of anything. I literally, with food stamps, you have to go and apply. I would give them all my information, and they would just give me a crazy amount. And so I wasn't saying no. And yeah, so it's all too easy to take advantage of the situation, and that's the majority. And don't think that I wouldn't, you know, looking back, by the way, I did eat pretty, I guess you could say normie like. It wasn't all just like terrible food. It's like we cooked most of our food that we bought, but it wasn't like, now the kick I'm on now is like it has, I'm looking for more fresh foods. And if they're not fresh, they need to be, blah 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 organic. And that's becoming a terrible term nowadays too. And I completely agree because organic is kind of like a psyop. It was something that probably started with good intentions and now is just another way of tricking people into poisoning themselves with a different substance than they're used to. Anyway, um, all under the guise of being free of poison. Anyway, but yeah, it's like we were still eating cooked meals. My point being is yes, our freezer and fridge was full, but it's every time I went there, I would get non-perishables, whether it was bad stuff to eat like pasta and pasta sauce and canned foods and things of that nature. I still bought them. You got no food in your cupboard. You guys can't chill for a month. You guys can't cancel Thanksgiving over this. You're humans. You have a life. You have souls, supposedly. Why do you need to eat a big turkey dinner on the 26th? What does it mean to you? First of all, why would Black people even celebrate Thanksgiving or any indigenous people? Like, that doesn't even make sense. And so it's like you have a large proportion of the people who are on SNAP benefits. Why are they complaining about Thanksgiving? Just live well under your means for a month. And I'm not saying that you should have to, but the system that we're in, it's almost, how much better it would be if we reacted like, all right, take it. Fuck you. Take it. We don't need it. You know how bad they would flip out? But no, what do? We fall right into their trap. I better be getting my money. I got to get my money. You take my food away? Your food? Would you grow it? if you did, you wouldn't be online complaining. So, and unfortunately, it just spoils the one bad apple type of theory, just spoils the whole bunch because, even at the restaurant I work at, which me and my girlfriend she runs it for the most part. Um, well, basically for the whole part. But anyway, um, we have been, she signed us up with the local news to be available to accept donations of money, and we would go and get groceries for needy families or whatever, and we also offered free food. And from what I've heard, I don't really work there during working hours. I'm like the full-time prep cook there. But from what I've heard, that it started out pretty decently, and the people that got the groceries from the few donations that we have gotten monetarily donations, not a lot of people were willing to do that, but a lot of people came into the restaurant to support us for being willing to help the community, they like to say. It's for the people that got the donation bags, those seem like needy people, needy families, and things of that nature. So that's decent. But I was against it, honestly, just because there was no way of us vetting anything. We don't have, we're a skeleton crew at our job. Everyone who works there works what they work. They're not taking time from serving tables or cooking to go in there and make sure that the people getting this stuff are in need of it. It's just basically trust that they need it. And so we were giving out sandwiches and things for people if they came up and said they needed a free meal for them and their family or whatever. And I guess it started out well, but a few days into it, it just got, for lack of a better term, and this isn't even my word, this is a member of the wait staff said, it got ghetto. That just everybody coming in were just like, what's the word? Entitled, and didn't seem like they actually needed it. They just were looking for free stuff like they always are. And, it's sad that, I say it's sad, but I completely get it. But it makes something like the community doing something for itself seem almost not worth it. And not to say that the concept isn't worth it. The concept is 100% worth it. But then you get a bunch of snakes in your group, and it's just like, it's so hard to tell yourself it's not about the snakes. You know what I mean? It's almost, it's like an ego thing. I think it's an ego problem with me, but it's like, I would rather starve than feed the snakes. You know what I mean? I would rather starve and also know the snakes starve with me than to feed them. It's such a, I don't know if that people understand what I'm saying there. I hope you guys do, but it's hard. And then, cause I talk to people that have the exact opposite mentality, that they're like, yeah, but you're going to help the good people. I'm like, yeah, but fuck these other people. So I don't know, but why I say that, I wouldn't say that if it was the majority were good people. Like if the majority was good people, I'd say, okay, you know what? Some snakes got over on us, but that's not the case. It's mostly snakes. And that's the hubris of humanity that we're led into. And now we're looking to bite the hand that feeds us when we should have never accepted the food from the hand to begin with. We should have only accepted food from our own hands, and taken our worlds into our lives into our own hands sooner. And I think we could all look at places in our life and choices we made in our lives that could have led us to a different place had we taken those choices and made the better choices. And it's not all about, no, well, now that I chose a bunch of bad things in a row, now I should be bailed out. No, you should have to work really hard to get out of those choices. And that's my opinion. That's just because when you stop moving and breathing for the final time, what do you think is waiting for you if you just like sat on your ass doing nothing and accepting things from other people and never gave anything back? Why are you here? What are you? And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm being completely serious about that question. That might sound facetious. No, what are you? Ask yourself, what am I? What am I doing? this is the world. I'm in the world. I'm breathing. I'm alive. I can see. I can do all these things. And what I do is this. There's no way it's right. You know it's not right. So I think that, choosing to be dependent as we are on all these different faculties is our downfall. And as much as there is an overarching regime that's against us that is giving us these choices, we're still accepting them, in my opinion. And that's going to be what what gets us in the end.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And the thing is too with all this too, it's just all of this is I mean, it's signs of the times. We're in like I said, it's not the way things are. A year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, five. It's all gonna look and be completely different. And it's just like I said. It's just it's why what like spiritual. Whatever you think this life, this world is, or if you think there's God or gods or creator creations, whatever you think about this, that's why this is the time to because a lot of people they're gonna fight, they're gonna argue over religion and gods and what's right and what's wrong and who's right and who's wrong, but whenever, like I said, you have questions, I always just look to nature, and that's why a lot of people don't understand, we're not even supposed to be up here, like Washington's, for the most part you could live, you'd have to like make a fire and stuff here. It does get cold at night, but like a lot of places in America, they're not livable. Like you can't live like in like Wisconsin and Wyoming outside when it's minus 55. Like you're not supposed to be living here, like you're not supposed to be here. That's just my point. We're not supposed to even be here. You're supposed to be down by the equator where it's warm year round, food, water, shelter, and life is simple, it's basic, it's easy. That's what life's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be this big complicated mess that they've created, and people just go along with it, and that's the problem. You got so many people that want to keep this going. I don't want to keep going. Like I've said, I rather die on my, I want to die on my feet. I don't want to die on my knees. I want to die fighting, and I want to, it's like I said, if I don't, you got to know where to draw the line. You might not, we might not make the next 5 years, and you got to know, and you got to be good with that. You got to be okay with that. Cause it's just like, you look at your purpose, you know, people looking for a purpose, your purpose isn't, you and your friends and, your family, your children. None of that's your purpose. It's just like people that say, oh, my kids come first. It doesn't even make sense. It's like, no, you got to come first because you got to lead and you got to guide them. It's like your purpose, your only purpose is to be one with nature, one with the land. That's your only purpose. That's how I am. It's just like everything, we were all, well, in some sense, we were all given, everything we need. We were given everything. The food, water, shelter is here. You just gotta, maybe you got to get down to the equator. Maybe you got to go where it's warm. Maybe you got to, make adjustments. But everything you need to live life is here. We make this complicated mess, and we got to have something called money, and then we got to, print it and cause inflation, and all this, other monies and currencies and all this crap, and we got to make a big mess out of shit. And you know, if people just had a more spiritual, like I said, it's all about attitude. Because like I said, if people, if your attitude is, oh, this is just life and this is all life is, and you just got to vote for another man to rule over you, and you just got to go pay your bills and your taxes, and as long as people keep that attitude, nothing's ever going to change. We're all screwed. So it's that's just what it all comes down to. I mean, you got to know what's what, and you got to have that right frame of mind. And most people, like I said, and most people, they're mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, just every way you could be just screwed up right now. People are screwed up, and then you add in these things, lockdowns, shutdowns, taking this away, screwed people over here. It's just it's not doing anybody any good, and there's nobody right now that's right now it's really proud, unless you got millions or billions right now. I mean, I know things for me aren't all that great and looking good at all. So I got money saved up right now, but I know it's not even at the end of the day, it's not even going to come down to that. It's like I said, like I said, when I'm sleeping and I'm dreaming like that, that's like honestly the best part of my time when I'm, sleeping, dreaming, because I'm in a generally a better place in this world and what this world has created. But you just got to find your real true sense of belonging, and you can't you know you can't let these things bother you. It's like I said, if you die tonight, if you don't wake up in the morning, you got to be good with it. You got to be okay. 5-10 years from now, we don't make it, if the world's not worth living, or we get axed out of here or whatever. I mean, you died with spirituality. You died with what, God or whatever, and you did you lived you knew that you were on the right track. All these other people, they're not on the right track. They're living a delusion. They're living they're just living a lie, and that's just no way to live. And you got to figure out what really works, and what's really right. And um you know you just got to really live life, like they say. And most people, they don't want to really live life. They don't want to really make things better. They don't really want to do better. And I'm not saying, like, because there's that toxic, there's that toxic, like, self improvement, toxic, positivity and stuff like that,
Mhm.
where,
Oh yeah.
people are promoting and pushing the system, and, oh, you just got to make more money and pull yourself by your bootstraps. Like, no, it's not what this is. People got this, they just got all the wrong ideologies. They don't, you know, you just gotta be one. You just gotta be, and just once you realize how simple and basic things are, and you keep it that way, you know, all these things in life, when they wouldn't be a problem. And that's what we're living in right now. We're just living in this giant matrix, just keeps getting worse and worse. And like I said, I don't know, the shutdown could continue for, it could just stay this way. I mean, who knows at this point? I mean, as far as dark winter, an ugly winter, like I said, we haven't really seen the real start of it here. But I know, like, Anchorage, like I said, just got hit. Brazil just got hit with a bunch of twisters. And I don't really see them getting twisters too much down there. It's weird seeing twisters down there. But I mean, again, weather warfare can happen anywhere, can happen anytime. And yeah, I mean, there's key things to watch in upcoming weeks, upcoming months, for sure. Especially, financially, they, attack that dollar. Probably next year, I'm sure the economy is going to take a big tank. Maybe April 2026, 322. They got something planned big for that. But yeah, like I said, with even the suicide thing with Google and YouTube and stuff, it's none of it is a coincidence. So it's all pointing to something. So I mean, everything right now is kind of coming to a head, and you know, it's interesting. We're almost to that final month of the year, December. So I mean, who knows? Next episode is government lockdown, shutdown still going to be going on? Probably. I mean, who knows? But uh, yeah, it's just signs of the times, really. I mean, there's just, we're just along for the ride, and you just got to be, this good. I just tune it out, it's like, like I said, why do you think Trump got that big old ballroom set up? We were talking about, because he may never be leaving, that's, they're doing that because he's in there to stay. And that could be another part of this whole thing too, because you gotta really look at the bigger picture right now too. I mean, the next few years they're gonna go by real fast. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of changes. And like I said, places that I was already living, if I was still living in Wyoming where I was, I mean, I'd be forced out of there right now because of the AI stuff coming. Definitely be able to put up with it there, and it's going to be happening all over the place. And some places are, stepping up and shutting it down, but other places it's taken over. And in the next 5 years, it's going to consume a lot of places. I mean, this stuff's going to, really shuffle people around and move people around, and have impacts on the economy, and how you live your life and what you can do. So um yeah, there's a lot to look at in the near future too. And like I said too, I mean, the longer this lockdown shutdown goes, I mean, it's not, like I said, I mean, nothing of Trump's administration so far of 2025 has done anybody any good. And the longer this goes, it's just going to make things worse. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot of people, they have their take and their view on stuff. And we're just kind of, just kind of is what it is at the times we're in, because everyone's in a hardship and hard times and struggling. Like I said, unless you got millions, billions, but it's like what's that saying? Nobody wins when everyone's losing. And that's pretty much where we are right now.
Yeah, great points. And yeah, especially, with the AI and everything. Yeah, like we both said separately, you have the AI pushing people out, and get ready for dystopia. You guys think that this is dystopia and this is the lead up to the real dystopia, the one that they put in the movies and everything. You're going to see, by the way, that's romanticized. And what I mean by that, it's either, overly done or just comic made to be comical, or, um, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, romanticization is what, you know, entertainment and Hollywood loves to do, but there's something like that in the works. These things are not just predictive programming. I mean, they're not. It is predictive programming. It's not just arbitrary. And yeah, get ready for. They're going to make it worse before they give you the solution. That's how they do it. Jesuit order, order out of chaos. And yeah, get ready for the dark winter, like you said, and then they'll be on the other side to pick up the pieces for the people that are like, okay, I don't ever want to live like that. What do you have to offer? Oh, we have, this to offer you. All you got to do is sign here, dot here, and sign up for our regime, and you'll be taken care of. Don't ask questions and just follow orders. Move into our 15-minute cities. Sign up your whole life away online. Um, don't be surprised that there's contracts that have to do with, your next born. I'm not even joking, guys. I'm not joking. If you guys haven't seen Children of Men, watch that and realize how big government intervenes into the lives of uh, people trying to have kids now, and just wait till when birth rates drop even lower to the point where it's actually, and who knows? By the way, they fudge the numbers on everything. So it could either be not happening and they're just using it as a fear tactic, or it could be way worse than they're telling us because of the microplastics and the, chemicals in the air and water and all these things. I mean, look at the rise of birth uh birth issues and diseases and illnesses at birth and things of that nature from, seemingly healthy people having, terrible, let's call it luck with um having children. So, these are things, where, think about back in the day when there weren't planes flying over every day bombing you with aluminum silicates and things of that nature. It was, if you had coitus with a woman, oh geez, geez, Jane, I think I came in you. Sorry, but you're having a kid. It's GG's. You're having a kid. Okay, you do it. It's done. And there's a baby going to be born. So nowadays, that certainty is what, 50%, maybe a little higher. So like, it's crazy where we're at in the world now. And then there's the argument whether we need more people or blah blah blah. You know, these are maybe topics for further discussions in this coming weeks. Let us know what you guys want to cover moving forward. We've kind of made this call to the community knowing that NASCAR was ending recently, but yeah, anything you guys want to discuss, anything, whether it's, something hot off the presses or just like an esoteric topic or something like this, where it's a discussion that, yeah, it's kind of propelled by what's on in the here and now in politics, but at the same time, it's the human issues that we're kind of talking about, as well as the spiritual element of it. And yeah, do you side with us? I put a little question down there for you. Do you think we need SNAP and government assistance as it is? Does it need to be changed, abolished, anything in between? What are your thoughts on it? And it doesn't have to be just SNAP and government. Government assistance is a wide-reaching thing. And what are your takes? Do you have any anecdotal stories about it, like I had? I mean, there's more too. Like it could be a much longer episode if I were to go on into all of that. Family and people I've lived with having, but I think we all realize that it's something that it's not it's not functioning the way that somebody with like a sound mind would have it something function. This is something that has gone way out of proportion, and because of that, you get way out of proportion negatives that come along with it, and we're going through one of them right now. And hopefully, I'm just kind of hoping that more people, it at least shines a light and wakes people up. Some people with sound minds that hopefully were just struggling, that they got to figure something else out, because relying on the hand that feeds us right now is relying on your enemy. And I wouldn't want to rely on my enemy to feed me. That's probably not a smart thing. So yeah, especially when your enemy likes poison as much as they do.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Anyway, yeah, your thoughts, and moving forward, guys. Any ideas and what we should talk about, and if you guys want to get involved, that'd be awesome. If you guys have stuff to share, if you want to hop on, you don't have to be on a whole entire episode. We can split this into segments with you guys if you guys want to get a hold of us and hop into our call. But yeah, that's always available. Hit us up in the email. It's been scrolling the entire episode. It'll be down in our description. Leave us some thoughts and ideas in the comments. And yeah, hopefully this kind of spurs on some ideas, not just about anything moving forward, but the topic of the episode, because this could really go a lot. This is like a one synapse of a much larger like thought process that this could branch into. Of course, we touched on AI and all these other things that are much bigger concepts that we could branch into and really unfold. Right now, we're just kind of like just unfolding one little sheet at a time of a much broader societal issue and human issue. But yeah, let us know what you guys think, and if you guys want to get involved or you have ideas moving forward. And thank you for everything up till now. We hope to keep this momentum moving forward and get more and more people involved and make this
Maybe
more.
next week we'll do the maybe that'll be the topic. Maybe do we need more people or less people? It's interesting too.
Mhm.
We kind of touched on it a bit tonight in a way. A lot of people, like I said, aren't going to make the next 5 years, and it's you could look at it, is it good, is it bad? It's kind of, you get a ticket out of hell, and then you get the sheep that'll say, well, oh, you die, you're going to hell, and it's like, and you tell them, oh, it's like, how am I going to hell when I'm already there? I'm already here. How do you go somewhere you already are? So it's a very interesting topic and concept. So that'd be something we have to cover next week for sure.
Yeah, are we with Mr. Christian and the Guidestones?
Yeah,
Maybe we're more Christian than we thought. Yeah,
yeah.
but
Maybe we put those there. You don't know. Those are our plans.
mhm. Well, it's been a fun one, guys. We will talk to you guys next week. Look forward to hearing from you in the comments and emails and anything else you guys got. But until then, peace.
Peace.